Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Copy for All, starting from the Heaven-Defying Comprehension. Chapter 1, Parallel Universe, Blue Star, Binhai City, Binhai Number 3 Middle School Playground. 100 years ago, there was a huge change in the Blue Star, and the dark abyss invaded. Countless abyssal monsters descended from the sky, massacring all living beings wantonly. Countries tried their best to fight against them, but they were beaten back and suffered heavy casualties. But there is always a way, and at the moment when mankind is in a life and death crisis, a copy space appears on Blue Star. In the form of a mark, it is imprinted on everyone on Blue Star, providing us humans with a shortcut to protect ourselves and become stronger. As long as anyone is over 18 years old, they can activate the dungeon mark, enter the dungeon world to experience, and after successfully passing the dungeon mission, they will receive corresponding point rewards. These points can be used to enhance one's own attributes and strengthen oneself, or they can be exchanged for various treasures in the dungeon mall, such as technological weapons, cultivation techniques, magic skills, extraordinary power, mythical equipment, etc. And, after paying a certain price, these things can be brought back to the real world and used to deal with those abyss monsters. It is precisely because of the things brought out from the copy space that we humans on Blue Star have gradually gained the ability to protect ourselves and not perish. Students, you are all over 18 years old and are eligible to enter the dungeon space to practice. In 3 days, it will be the day for the college entrance examination for all our senior high school students in Dragon Kingdom. The results of the college entrance examination will be determined based on your rating in the first copy world. I hope all students will take a good rest after going back today, recharge their batteries, and strive to achieve good results in the dungeon world where the college entrance examination is located. Let me emphasize one more point. In a corner of the playground, Yi Qing felt helpless as she watched the principal talking on the rostrum and emphasizing one point after another. Unexpectedly, in a different world, the principal of the high school could still speak so well. As expected, those who can become a principal should not mention their abilities, but they must at least be very eloquent. This time, the school-wide teacher-student meeting was held before the college entrance examination. From the moment he took the stage to the present, the principal has been talking for half an hour without repeating himself. He has no intention of stopping. In order to prevent herself from being hypnotized, Yi Qing had to think of other things to divert her attention. It's been 2.5 years since I traveled to this world. I have tried various methods, such as singing, dancing, rapping, playing basketball, etc., and I have become proficient in them all. Unfortunately, the golden finger that is necessary for time travelers still does not appear. Do you really want me to wear overalls again and have in public? Are you so beautiful? Then you must die on the spot. Goldfinger, Goldfinger, come out quickly. Without you, how will I survive after entering the copy space? That's right, Yi Qing is not an aborigine of this world, but a traveler from the Earth Star, who traveled to this parallel world 2.5 years ago. Although it is soul-piercing, it is not a simple body-seizing, but a perfect fusion of the soul's origin. Because the person he soul transferred was himself in the parallel world. Except for the age difference of more than 10 years, his name and appearance were exactly the same as his previous life. According to the various online novels he had read in his previous life, the Blue Star self in this world can be regarded as an alter ego incarnation of the Earth Star self in the previous life. As for why not the other way around? After the souls of Earth Star's self and Blue Star's self merge with each other, the memory of Earth Star's previous life is dominated by it. Of course, it is also possible that this is because the Earth Star self in the previous life is older, making the soul strength stronger than the Blue Star self in this life, so that when integrating the source of the spiritual sea, the memory of the Earth Star in the previous life can be the main one. Or it's possible that whether it's the Earth Star self in the previous life or the Blue Star self in this life, they are the incarnations of others. Although Yi Qing has thought about this kind of thing, he will never admit it. He always thinks that he is the most special one among countless parallel worlds. Closer to home, after traveling to this world, the reason why Yi Qing is obsessed with finding and stimulating his golden finger is because after receiving the memories of this life, he discovered that this world is not simple. 100 years ago, Blue Star encountered the invasion of the Dark Abyss world. The appearance of countless abyssal monsters almost destroyed the Blue Star humans. Fortunately, at the critical moment, a dungeon space emerged, allowing the surviving humans to enter and experience, obtain powerful strength and weapons, and have the power to protect themselves from the invasion of abyss monsters. Although it is said that it can protect itself, it is actually very reluctant, because at the same time that humans have gained great power, the abyss monsters that appear on the blue star are becoming stronger as time goes by. Moreover, there are almost endless abyss monsters. After killing a group, it won't take long for another group of abyss monsters to cross over from the abyss cracks that appear in every corner of Blue Star. Therefore, even if the humans on Blue Star have been fighting the abyss monsters for hundreds of years, they are still at a disadvantage. If you want to completely reverse the situation, unless there is a strong person who can directly seal or even destroy all the abyssal cracks on the Blue Star, cutting off the abyss monster's escape route and reinforcements are enough. But unfortunately, it is impossible to do this with Blue Star's current power. There are 3 reasons. First, there are too many abyss cracks in the ocean, earth, sky, water, land and air. It is difficult to find them all at once. Second, every abyss crack must be protected by a powerful force. The human race has to spend a lot of money to destroy the abyss monsters around the abyss crack. The number of abyss cracks is small, that's all. If there are too many, the human race simply cannot afford to seal or destroy them all in a short period of time. The third and most important point is that abyss monsters can also communicate with the powerful in the dark abyss world through sacrifices, and open new abyss rifts on Blue Star at a certain price. Maybe when Blue Star can give birth to a powerful person with the final say, he can completely reverse the situation and protect Blue Star's safety. It is precisely because the world of dark abyss is too powerful. If there is no golden finger to help Yi Ching cheat and let him grow rapidly, he feels that there is a great possibility that he will be miserable in the future. As for the copy space, although it can also make people stronger quickly, it is definitely not as fast as golden finger, and it is also full of dangers. This is not only a danger within the dungeon world itself, but also a danger from other pioneers who enter the dungeon world. To be honest, Yi Ching was very excited when she first learned about the copy space. Because based on the knowledge he learned at Binhai No. 3 Middle School and the information he learned online, many of the dungeon worlds that appear in the dungeon space are various novels, animations, movies, etc. that he has read in his previous life. In my previous life, I probably forgot most of them after seeing them, and could only remember some key points. But after traveling through time, he perfectly devoured and fused the soul origin of Blue Star's other and my incarnations, making his spiritual will become very powerful, and he could easily recall forgotten things in his memory. The novels, animations, movies, etc. I have read have become so impressive that I will never forget them. He is familiar with this routine, just like there is a saying in his previous masterpiece Infinite Horror, after going to a world that is familiar to him, knowing the plot is the biggest advantage. But as time went by, and after learning enough knowledge about the dungeon world in the Binhai No. 3 middle school class, he realized that knowing the plot was nothing at all. Because many dungeon pioneers in this world, and even countless people who have not yet entered the dungeon world, are also familiar with the plot. Let's just say that, although there are many dungeon worlds appearing in the dungeon space, there are even more pioneers who have entered the dungeon world. Since the emergence of the dungeon space 100 years ago, every day since then, a large number of people across Blue Star have chosen to enter the dungeon world to develop experience, obtain powerful power and weapons, and fight against the monsters of the abyss. With such a huge base, even if it is an unpopular dungeon, a large number of pioneers will still enter it after 100 years. Naturally, there will be quite a lot of data and information about the world of the dungeon collected. As for those more popular dungeon worlds, more people will enter. It can almost be said that all the information that can be collected in that world has been collected. However, some of the more important and valuable information is controlled by various forces, including the government, and will not be released for free to the majority of civilian pioneers. Therefore, for many well-known dungeon worlds, Yi Ching only knows the plot content that he has seen, but some powerful people on Blue Star may even know the content outside of the plot. As for whether there will be a situation where the important copy world information collected by others in the online novels I read in the past life is wrong, and only Yi Ching knows the correct answer. This is possible, but unlikely, and only in a few worlds does this happen. After all, the blue star of 100 years ago was already in the modern world. Most of the dungeon pioneers who had experienced the information explosion were still good at thinking, and only a few people were reckless men who had grown muscles in their brains. And among those who are good at thinking, there are also some wise men with extremely high IQs and very good at reasoning. Perhaps there are not many people who can be called wise among the dungeon pioneers every year, but after 100 years, the number accumulated is already a huge number. With their efforts, the information on each copy world summarized by predecessors is constantly being improved. Even if there are major mistakes, they will be corrected. There are only some minor errors left that do not affect the plot direction of the dungeon world and are difficult to detect. Therefore, Yi Qing, who has studied at Binhai No. 3 Middle School for 2.5 years, knows very well that some of the information in the world that is widely circulated in the market and used as lesson plans by school teachers is correct. Through this incident, Yi Qing concluded that what he knows is known by others, and what he doesn't know is known by others. This thing still has the advantage of a hammer. Unless entering the dungeon space, a separate dungeon world will be opened for each pioneer. The plot he is familiar with can be called an advantage and a plugin. But in fact, each dungeon world has at least 10 people, and as many as 100 people. The largest number of people that has appeared so far has even reached 1,000 people. It is not ruled out that there may be dungeons with even more people in the future. When everyone knows the important information in the plot and wants to enjoy exclusive benefits, competition will form. The more pioneers who enter the world of this copy, the more intense the competition will be, and they will kill each other. In this case, even if Yi Qing is a time traveler, there is no guarantee that she will be able to compete with others. After all, he is just an ordinary family on Blue Star. He may have to fight alone in the dungeon world, while others may be big families or big forces. After entering the dungeon world, they will have companions to help each other. That's why he never forgets the golden finger, which is a must-have for time travelers, and tries to use various tricks to make the golden finger appear. Unfortunately, 2.5 years later, he was about to enter the dungeon world, and no golden finger appeared, which made him very helpless. When Yi Qing was recalling these things in a depressed mood, the principal stood on the high platform and finally ended his long speech. "Dear students, that's all I have to say. I hope that tomorrow all students will get good grades in the dungeon world of the National Unified Examination, be admitted to a good university, and get more resources and information about the dungeon world. Finally, I wish everyone good luck in martial arts." After the words fell, the entire playground burst into warm applause. This scene made the principal extremely satisfied and felt that his encouragement before the college entrance examination was very successful. In fact, everyone is happy that they have escaped the destruction of the principal's magic sound. 3 days passed by in a flash. Throughout Binhai City, college entrance examination students from all colleges and universities, under the leadership of their respective principals, entered the dungeon temple in the center of the city in batches. Under a burst of golden light, Yi Qing, together with many others, was activated with the dungeon mark. When the golden light disappeared, all the senior high school students present also disappeared. Obviously, they have all entered the world of college entrance examination exclusive copies. The copy is being transferred. Welcome to the Dragon Kingdom College Entrance Exam 1-star exclusive dungeon, the world of Yishin Dragon Slayer number 10,086 dungeon. Current time: Emperor Shun of the Yuan Dynasty to the beginning of the second year of the Yuan Dynasty. The current number of people in the world dungeon, 1,000. Basic mission: survive until the end of the main plot of the dungeon. The random identity card is being generated. Congratulations, your copy identity is the only son of a wealthy businessman in Pingliang County. The resurrection card is taking effect. Pingliang Mansion, Pingliang County's Yi Mansion. The young man lying on the bed to rest suddenly opened his eyes, looking at everything in the room with some novelty, and thought to himself, "Is this the copy world? It's really amazing." This person is none other than Yi Qing, who was transported to the dungeon world. After he woke up, he just took a moment to look at his surroundings, and then immediately recalled the memory that the copy space had poured into his mind. In addition to the information given by the copy space when the previous transfer was successful, these memories also include a lot of information generated specifically for him about the son of a wealthy businessman in Pingliang County. After a while, Yi Qing became familiar with her identity, background, and daily habits, so that her relatives would not notice anything strange at a glance. After digesting all the memories from the copy space, Yi Qing turned his attention to the basic tasks given by the copy space. This task is very simple and cruel. It is to survive. If you succeed, you will pass the dungeon test and get the dungeon reward. If you fail, you will definitely die in the middle. Fortunately, this world is an exclusive dungeon world for the Dragon Kingdom College Entrance Examination, which is a bit different from the normal dungeon world. Based on the knowledge that Yi Qing has learned in the past 2.5 years, this exclusive copy contains the top copy of the Dragon Kingdom, the Pioneer, and specially gives 2 benefits to all college entrance examination students. The first benefit is to give a random identity card, which can randomly generate any identity in the dungeon world, thereby giving candidates a certain amount of help. Although most of these random identities are ordinary, there are also a few very good identities. If the candidate is very lucky, he may be able to directly generate the identity of the protagonist of the world. In this way, not only can you easily pass the basic tasks, but you can also complete many hidden tasks, which will greatly improve your dungeon score and obtain more dungeon rewards. The second benefit is that it is extremely difficult to obtain in the copy space, and it is also a priceless resurrection card. Under normal circumstances, if a dungeon mission fails, a certain amount of dungeon points will be deducted. When the points are insufficient, the dungeon pioneer will die. But there are also some tasks, which are more special survival tasks. Generally speaking, surviving in the dungeon world is very simple. Just choose a safe place and stay up until the mission time is over. But if there is a survival mission, it only means that the living environment in this dungeon world is very harsh, and the mission time is extremely long. Even if you try hard, you may not be able to survive until the end of the mission time. As a college entrance examination student who entered the dungeon world for the first time, he encountered a special survival mission in a harsh environment. Can he survive safely until the end of the mission? I'm afraid it will be difficult. If Long Country's college entrance examination students suffer heavy losses every year, does Long Country still have a future? I'm afraid it won't be long before we are captured by monsters from the abyss because of our lack of support. Therefore, the top pioneers of the Dragon Kingdom, after obtaining a certain copy space permission, spent a huge amount of money to give a hugely valuable resurrection card to the candidates who took the college entrance examination every year. Even if you fail a mission and die in the college entrance examination exclusive copy, or die accidentally, you can still be resurrected. If you have the experience of developing a dungeon once, and you enter the dungeon world for the second time in the future, your probability of survival will be much higher. However, the resurrection card can only be obtained by college entrance examination students who enter the dungeon world for the first time. If anyone has entered the dungeon world before the college entrance examination, they are not eligible to receive a resurrection card. It is also a chance to buy a resurrection card for free. Almost all senior high school students in Long Kingdom will not enter the dungeon world first after reaching the age of 18, but will wait for the arrival of the college entrance examination dungeon. Only a very small number of people with extremely strong identity and background who can get the resurrection card in advance will look down on the resurrection card given by the college entrance examination. They believe in taking the lead one step at a time and choosing to enter the dungeon world as early as possible. Not only the Dragon Kingdom, but also other countries on Blue Star have arranged college entrance examination resurrection cards. There is no way, as a lesson learned from the past, those countries that did not do this, or did not have the ability to do so, have been destroyed by monsters from the abyss because of their lack of support. Although this dungeon world is a special survival mission, with the resurrection stuck in it, Yi Qing is not in vain. I don't dare to be careless, but I can at least take a risk and compete with the other 999 college entrance examination candidates for the world's magic weapons, heavenly materials and earthly treasures, as well as the top secret techniques. Moreover, the identity and background he randomly received this time are pretty good, not as good as those above, but more than below. If he can make good use of it, it may not be unable to give him a good start. Thinking of this, Yi Qing began to make plans for the future in her heart. 7 days later, on the Kongtong Mountain 20 to 30 miles outside Pingliang County, Yi Qing took 4 or 5 servants and rode a carriage to the famous Kongtong sect in the martial arts world. They met the 5 leaders of the Kongtong sect, Dong Wu Lao. Without much hesitation, Yi Qing immediately completed the etiquette and bowed. Yi Qing, the son of Yi Hai, a wealthy businessman in Pingliang County, Pingliang Prefecture, pays homage to the 5 senior masters of the Kongtong sect. Seeing this, the 5 elders of Kongtong all nodded secretly. Are you Yi Qing, who sent me a greeting card not long ago and is willing to give 100,000 taels of gold to my Kongtong sect? You are indeed handsome. However, your offer of 100,000 taels of gold should be conditional, right? Please tell me first and see if we can do it. Hearing the straight-to-the-point inquiry from the 5 elders of Kongtong, Yi Qing did not hide anything and said directly, 5 seniors and juniors, I heard that the Kongtong sect is one of the 6 sects in the martial arts world. It is famous and very coveted. So, this junior wants to join the Kongtong sect to practice martial arts and become the direct disciple of the 5 seniors. As soon as these words came out, the 5 elders of Kongtong were a little confused. You want to worship us as your teacher? Ah, this. Yi Qing continued. My family has been in business for 3 generations, and the family has accumulated considerable assets. My father Yi Hai has prepared 100,000 taels of gold. As long as the 5 seniors are willing to accept the younger generation, they will offer it immediately without regrets. Quote. Seeing Yi Qing mention 100,000 taels of gold again, he originally wanted to say something about the 5 elders of Kongtong, but fell silent. After looking at each other for a while, the 5 elders in Kongtong all saw looks of agreement from the other 4. There is no way, the other party offers too much, they can't refuse. The Kongtong sect is one of the 6 famous sects in the martial arts world. Although the family has a big business, the expenses for those who practice martial arts are also high. Most of them are not engaged in production and focus on practicing martial arts, practicing various martial arts auxiliary secret medicines, daily food and medicinal diet, precious medicinal baths, elixirs, etc., which of them does not require the support of a large amount of money. The total number of inner disciples, lay disciples and handyman disciples owned by the Kongtong sect may be over 1,000, and the amount of money consumed every day can be imagined. Even though the Kongtong sect has many escort agencies, martial arts schools, and high tuition fees from lay disciples, life is still tight and cannot be called rich at all. Those secret martial arts medicines and medicated diets are fine and will basically last forever, but those medicated baths and elixirs have to be used every once in a long time. 100,000 taels of gold is equivalent to 1 million taels of silver, which is a huge amount of wealth even for the Kongtong sect. Coupled with the annual income of the Kongtong sect itself, it can allow everyone in the entire sect to live a good life for at least 10 years. All kinds of secret medicines and medicinal diets are made with great effort. Medicinal baths are taken once a day, and elixirs are given every other day. Under such circumstances, 10 years are enough for the Kongtong sect to cultivate a large number of outstanding disciples, making the sect's reputation and strength even higher. Now, this opportunity is in front of the 5 elders of Kongtong, and the price they have to pay is just to accept a direct disciple. Although the status of a direct disciple is much higher than that of ordinary disciples, and is equivalent to the elders of the sect, and is also the reserve talent of the leader of the sect, but compared with the value of 100,000 taels of gold, it is still far behind. After all, there must be more than one direct disciple of the 5 elders of Kongtong. It was precisely because of this that the 5 of them decided to agree to Yi Qing's request. Guan Nang, the eldest among the 5 elders in Kongtong, said, I didn't expect you to be so determined in practicing martial arts. Forget it, I will agree to your request today and recruit you into the Kongtong sect. It just so happens that my 5th brother Hu Bao is obsessed with martial arts and has not yet accepted any direct disciples, so you should become his disciple. Hu Bao, the 5th among the 5 elders of Kongtong, heard this and immediately stepped forward. Yi Qing, are you willing to kneel down 3 times and kowtow 9 times to worship me as your teacher? Yi Qing did not hesitate and immediately replied, disciple is willing. Afterwards, he knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times to complete the simple apprenticeship ceremony. Seeing this, Hu Bao couldn't help but nodded secretly and helped Yi Qing up. Good disciple, get up quickly. Disciple, although you are already old and have a solid foundation, you are just starting to practice martial arts now. It is very difficult. But your family has quite a lot of assets. If you are willing to invest in it, you may not be able to make great achievements in martial arts in the future. My teacher observes that you are very determined in martial arts, so I will give you 3 days to go back and say goodbye to your parents and relatives. After 3 days, you will have to live on Kongtong Mountain. My teacher will supervise and guide your practice at all times. Hearing this, Yi Qing replied, Master's words make sense. However, before my disciple came to the Kongtong sect, he made an agreement with his parents that as long as he succeeds in his apprenticeship, he will not go back for the time being. He will go home to see them during the holidays. Master, just send some experts to follow one of my servants to get the 100,000 taels of gold from my house. Seeing what Yi Qing said, Hu Bao didn't force it and immediately replied, Since you have already made arrangements, disciple, then I will listen to you. From now on, you will live in the Kongtong sect, and my master will send someone to arrange a place for you in a few minutes. It's getting late today. I'll take you around the Kongtong sect first, and then you go back and have a good rest. I'll teach you martial arts tomorrow. Yi Qing replied, Thank you, master. The next day, Hu Bao brought Yi Qing to the courtyard where he lived and began to teach. Disciple, if you want to practice martial arts, literacy is necessary. Otherwise, if a magical secret book is placed in front of you, you won't be able to understand it. However, you are a young man from a rich family. You speak in a very organized manner. You are probably literate. As a teacher, I won't waste your time by testing you. From today on, my teacher will explain the basic internal skills to you every morning, allowing you to try to practice and sense the inner energy. In the afternoon, you will practice the horse stance. When you can do the horse stance for an hour at a time, you will be considered qualified and you can practice boxing and kicking. At night, the master will arrange a medicinal bath for you to restore your tired body, remove as many impurities from your body as possible, improve your aptitude, and allow you to generate qi faster. These are the martial arts training plans prepared by my master for you. Do you have any objections? Yi Qing replied respectfully, It all depends on master's arrangements. Hu Bao nodded. Very good, let me explain the basic internal skills to you now. After saying that, he took out a secret book with the 4 characters, Basic Internal Strength, written on it. After opening it, there were paragraphs of text, and next to it was a complete map of the meridians and acupuncture points of the human body. While Hu Bao was reciting Yi Qing and explaining its meaning, he also explained it with a diagram of the meridians and acupuncture points of the human body. Speaking of rising, he simply put his hand on Yi Qing's back, transferred a little bit of his kung fu, and let Yi Qing personally experience the feeling of inner kung fu running in his body. Half an hour later, a whole book of basic internal skills had been explained by Hu Bao. At this moment, Yi Qing felt a mysterious power awaken in his body, giving birth to an innate magical power, enlightenment that defies heaven. In an instant, he felt that his mind had become extremely clear and his thinking was running extremely fast. His basic internal skills, which were somewhat complicated before, have become very simple, and he can understand all their mysteries at a glance. On the map of the human body's meridians and acupuncture points, the originally very simple exercise routes began to become increasingly complicated in his mind. You have comprehended the basic internal skills, and you will understand the basic internal skills to perfection. You find that the basic internal skills are too simple and start to take the initiative to understand the evolution. If the evolution is successful, you create the innate breathing method, exhale and inhale, condense the innate true energy, and start directly from the innate. After the warning voice in his heart fell, a large text containing a mysterious atmosphere emerged in Yi Qing's mind. It was the cultivation method of the innate breathing method. Without the slightest hesitation, Yi Qing instinctively carried out special breathing exercises according to the content of this exercise. Breathe, 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 breathe. Between the special rhythm of breathing again and again, Yi Qing suddenly felt a faint mysterious air flow from the outside world, which was sucked into his body and circulated around the world. In the process of circulating around the sky, most of the mysterious air flow escapes through the pores of the whole body. A small part of it was integrated into the flesh and bones when it escaped, while a trace was successfully intercepted and continuously gathered in the dantian. I don't know how long it took, but when Yi Qing felt mentally exhausted and her meridians began to tingle, she decisively stopped practicing. When he slowly opened his eyes, he immediately saw 5 pairs of fiery eyes staring at him. If he looked carefully, it was none other than the 5 elders of Kongtong. Hu Bao asked with excitement, "Disciple, after I explained the basic internal skills to you before, did you have an epiphany?" Yi Qing nodded with some confusion. "Master, my disciple has indeed had an epiphany just now." As soon as these words came out, the 5 elders of Kongtong burst out laughing, and Hu Bao said excitedly, "God has blessed me, Kongtong. I didn't expect you, my disciple, to have such a strong understanding. When you first came into contact with basic internal skills, you were immediately enlightened. It lasted for most of a day, and under the wash of the vitality of heaven and earth, you completed a cleansing of the tendons and marrow. You can have an epiphany so easily, and you will surely have an epiphany a second time, a third time, or even more times in the future. Relying on many epiphanies, even if you, my disciple, are old, you will definitely be able to break through and become an innate immortal in the future. You will have the opportunity to reach the heights of my founder Mu Lingxi of the Kongtong founding sect, and even go one step further. Your achievements will be limitless. My master and my 4 senior brothers have discussed it. In order to help you grow quickly, from now on, you will be the direct disciple of the 5 of us and the young master of the Kongtong sect. We will take turns teaching you martial arts. When your martial arts surpasses ours in the future, you will officially take over as the head of the Kongtong sect and strengthen the reputation of our Kongtong sect. What do you think?" After listening to Hu Bao's words, Yi Qing finally understood why the 5 elders of Kongtong were so excited. It turned out that he found that his understanding was too strong and he could easily achieve enlightenment. His future achievements would definitely be extraordinary. After knowing the reason, Yi Qing felt relieved and said, "Disciple, I will obey the arrangements of the 5 masters." Seeing that Yi Qing agreed, the 5 elders of Kongtong laughed happily again. After a while, they finally calmed down. At this time, the boss Guan Neng asked, "By the way, disciple, you just had an epiphany for most of the day. What did you realize?" Yi Qing replied, "Master Qi, my disciple has fully understood the basic internal skills. There is no doubt about this method. When refining the energy of qi and blood in the body, or the energy contained in food, elixirs, etc., the efficiency is very high, almost 100%, and there will be no waste. And this also means that my disciple's progress in practicing internal skills may be very fast. As for how fast it will be, I don't know." That's right, Yi Qing concealed the fact that he understood and evolved the innate breathing method. Because he just became a disciple yesterday, it is absolutely impossible to say that there is any deep master-disciple relationship between him and the 5 elders of Kongtong. If he directly told about the innate breathing method, it might make Kongtong 5 elders like him even more. But the 5 elders of Kongtong may also directly interrogate him about the content of the technique, or even imprison him, destroy all his meridians and dantian, and treat him as a tool who specializes in enlightenment of powerful techniques. As the saying goes, it is a crime to have a jade in your hands, this is the truth. Although the 5 elders of Kongtong are considered decent characters in the original plot, after all, they are not an open-minded peerless master like Zhang Sanfang, but they have to be guarded against. Therefore, Yi Qing plans to tell them about the innate breathing method after he has sufficient strength, or after they have been together for a long time and feel the sincerity of the 5 elders of Kongtong. Of these 2 conditions, Yi Qing is more optimistic about the former. With the innate supernatural power of understanding and a large amount of resources at his side, if he wants to become stronger and surpass the 5 elders of Kongtong, it shouldn't take too long. After all, the 5 elders of Kongtong were not that strong in the original plot. According to the relevant information he sent people to collect in the 7 days after he arrived in this copy world, the martial arts in this world are divided into physical training, acquired and innate realms. Legend has it that there is a realm beyond innateness, but it is not known to ordinary people. The realm of physical training is mainly to exercise the body, enhance strength and physical fitness, and strengthen one's own muscles and bones. He is known as a third-rate master in the world. There are 9 levels of acquired realm, among which level 1 to level 3 are called second-rate masters. From the 4th level to the 6th level, he is called a first-class master. From the 7th level to the 9th level, he is an extremely master. The time when Yi Qing came to this world was the 2nd year of Emperor Yuan Shun's reign. In his memory, this year was the beginning of the main storyline of this instance. The protagonist Zhang Wuji's parents haven't even met each other yet. It is estimated that there are still a few months left, and there are still a full 20 years before the subsequent Battle of Guangmingding. Therefore, at this time, the 5 elders of Kongtong were not very strong in cultivation. They were just top-notch masters in the arena, and their strengths varied. Strong men such as Guan Nang, the eldest brother, and Zhang Weixia, the second eldest brother, are estimated to have cultivation levels at the early stage of the acquired 6th level. The remaining 3 are only at the early stage of the acquired 5th level. If it weren't for the 7-injury fist, the unique skill of the Kongtong sect, which has 7 levels of punching power, it is very powerful, and even warriors with a level higher than them would have difficulty guarding against it. If 5 people join forces and cooperate with each other, they can barely compete with the master of the 7th level of the day after tomorrow. 5 years ago, Xie Xuan, the golden retriever lion king of the Ming cult, killed the 2nd-generation leader of the Kongtong sect, who was also the only top master at the time, in order to seize the 7-injury boxing manual. It would be difficult for the Kongtong sect to remain one of the 6 major sects. It's a good name. Therefore, at this stage, it should not be difficult for Yi Qing, who has innate supernatural powers such as heaven-defying understanding, to surpass the Kongtong 5 elders in terms of strength, and it will not take a few years. After he surpasses the 5 elders of Kongtong and takes over as the head of the Kongtong sect, he will naturally be able to pass on the innate breathing method, and even other powerful techniques that he has suddenly enlightened in the past few years, thereby strengthening the Kongtong sect. He even led the Kongtong sect to surpass Shaolin, Wudang, and Mingjiao, becoming the largest sect in the martial arts world. In this way, after completing the survival mission, the dungeon score he gets will definitely be very high, and the rewards will naturally be huge. Although Yi Qing did not tell him about the sudden enlightenment of the innate breathing method, just the completion of the basic internal skills was an exciting thing for the 5th boss of Kongtong. Although basic internal strength has the word foundation, this only represents its universality and adaptability. It does not mean that it will not be difficult to practice this method. It's like letting the 5 elders of Kongtong practice basic internal skills. Compared with a newcomer who has just learned this skill, the amount and speed of the acquired internal energy transformed by the 2 parties will definitely be different, and it can even be said to be a huge difference. Because Kongtong Wulao has practiced martial arts for so many years and has a profound understanding of basic internal skills, even if he is not perfect, he is probably almost there. Therefore, they can cultivate their acquired internal power extremely quickly and in large numbers. Now Yi Qing can do this, even better than them, which is equivalent to saving more than 10 years of time. As long as Yi Qing continuously invests in various resources to continuously cultivate more acquired internal strength, I am afraid that within a few years, Yi Qing's cultivation level will be able to catch up with the 5 of them. How can this not excite 5 people? The 5 elders of Kongtong have already made a decision in their hearts. They must train Yi Qing well and lay a solid foundation and heritage for him. Thinking of this, I heard Guan Nang say, "Disciple, with your strong understanding, the 5 of you as teachers should come up with techniques that are better than the basic internal skills. For example, the Kongtong Heart technique that all my disciples of the Kongtong Inner Sect are practicing, or the Wood Spirit Everlasting technique that was originally created by the ancestor Mu Lingxi. But the tall buildings are rising from the ground. In order for you to have a better future, the 5 of us decided to let you continue to practice this basic internal skill. Because this is the best foundation among the many internal skills of our Kongtong sect. You can practice all the way to the 7th level of acquired life, but you are just not good at fighting. And my disciple, you have the 5 of us taking care of you, so you don't need to fight for the time being. After you have perfected the basic internal skills, it is not too late to modify other internal skills, such as the Wood Spirit Evergreen technique of the Wood Spirit Patriarch, to transform the attributes of the internal skills. Furthermore, according to the notes left by the ancestor, if you have perfected the basic internal skills, you can cleanse your muscles, cut your marrow, be reborn, and improve your qualifications. The Patriarch's high achievements back then have a lot to do with his patience and perfecting the basic internal skills when he was young." Hearing these words, Yi Qing's eyes lit up. He really didn't expect that in this Yishan dungeon world, the basic internal skills that are widely circulated can have such an effect. It seems that the person who once taught the basic internal skills and mental methods was also an extremely capable person. Unfortunately, there are too few people who can endure and practice this skill to perfection. As a result, few warriors in this era know the additional effects of completing the basic internal skills. Even if you know it, I'm afraid it will be difficult to make any progress at the slow pace of basic internal skills. The basic inner skill and mind method has such an effect, so the innate breathing method he evolved based on this skill should have a similar effect, and may even be more powerful. Because when I entered the state of enlightenment and instinctively practiced the innate breathing method, some of the wisps of heaven and earth energy absorbed from the outside world were integrated into my own flesh and bones during the process of dissipation. It is precisely because of this that I have the situation of washing my tendons and cutting my marrow. In this case, he does not need to follow the requirements of the 5 elders of Kongtong to practice low-level basic internal skills and mental methods, he can just practice the innate breathing method directly. Only the innately powerful can sense such advanced things as the vitality of heaven and earth, and breathe in and out freely. Acquired warriors can only extract energy from various foods, medicinal diets, elixirs, etc. to transform acquired internal forces. Essentially, they cannot sense the existence of the vitality of heaven and earth, unless they enter a state of enlightenment like Yi Ching. Therefore, as long as he himself is not exposed, the 5 elders of Kongtong have no idea what kind of technique he is practicing. Of course, thinking this way, he still agreed, "Disciple, I will obey the teachings of the 5 masters." Hearing this, Kongtong 5th elder smiled and nodded. "Go ahead, go to your 5th master's room and take a bath first to wash away the impurities removed from your body, and then come see us again." As soon as he said this, Yi Ching finally smelled the stench emanating from his body. He instinctively nodded and rushed into Hu Bao's room without the slightest hesitation. I took off all my clothes 3 times, 5 times, 5 times, 2 times, and then entered the hot water bucket that was as tall as one person that Kongtong Wulao had prepared. I applied soap and washed it at the same time. Half an hour later, Yi Ching finally cleaned herself up, and her whole body exuded the fragrance of soap locust. Looking back at the hot water in the vat, it had become extremely turbid, and still emitted a foul smell. Fortunately, he doesn't need to deal with the dirty water. Kongtong sect has special servants to deal with it. I don't know if it will leak out when they deal with it. Putting this funny thought to the back of his mind, Yi Ching immediately put on the clean practice clothes prepared by Hu Bao in advance and returned to the courtyard outside. Seeing Yi Ching appear, the 5 elders of Kongtong smiled and said, "Disciple, your understanding is amazing. You have already fully understood the basic internal skills. You don't need our guidance in this area of practice. From now on, you can practice in your room by yourself. Now, we will specifically guide you every day on how to stand on the horse, as well as how to practice boxing and kicking kung fu. The better the horse stance is, the more stable your lower body will be. The longer the stance will be, the better your endurance will be, and the easier it will be to practice boxing and kicking skills. Here are some tips on Zamabu. Please listen carefully." Yi Ching listened to it again and again, and got up his horse. If you listen carefully to the tips of Zamabu, you will fully understand the techniques of Zamabu. You have mastered the horse step technique of combining man and horse, and the horse step becomes more and more relaxed. As the reminder sounded in the bottom of her heart, Yi Ching felt that her whole body had become much more relaxed, and her body was rising and falling slightly, as if she was really riding a horse. Relying on the ability to unite a man and a horse, as well as the previous cleansing of muscles and marrow, which greatly improved his physical fitness, he held on to the horse step for 2 hours for the first time, and did not stop until his physical strength was about to be exhausted. This made the 5 elders of Kongtong scream in their hearts that they were abnormal, saying that they no longer needed to practice Zama step and could directly practice boxing and kicking kung fu. However, it's getting late, so I'd better wait until the next day to practice boxing and kicking. Now it's time to take a medicinal bath. Early the next morning, after Yi Ching took the medicinal diet, she began to practice the innate breathing method. Along with the bursts of special rhythmic breathing, he once again sensed the vitality of heaven and earth from the outside world entering his body. But what is different from yesterday is that the vitality of heaven and earth attracted this time seems to be much weaker, only 1/10 of yesterday's, that is, 10%. Under this situation, at the same time, whether it is the interception and transformation of the innate true energy or the vitality of heaven and earth that nourishes the flesh, muscles and bones, it is much less than yesterday. It seems that it was because I was in a special state of enlightenment yesterday that I had such a good cultivation effect and could quickly reach the limit of daily endurance. Today is the normal state, and the effect suddenly dropped sharply. But it doesn't matter. With the help of various resources, as long as he spends more time every day, he can still reach the limit of his body's endurance. In the afternoon, Yi Qing went to Hubeo's courtyard again and began to practice boxing and kicking. Because his internal strength was weak, the 5 elders of Kongtong did not teach advanced boxing techniques, palm techniques, etc., but simple fist and kick skills that could be used for physical training without the need for internal strength. During this period, understanding once again played a powerful role. These simple fist and kick skills can be mastered by Yi Qing at a glance, and you will become perfect as soon as you practice them. After 3 or 5 times, you will be perfect. Fortunately, the Kongtong sect has been established for nearly 100 years and has collected a lot of simple fist and kick martial arts. If it were anyone else, Kongtong 5 elders might only teach a few kinds of boxing and kicking skills and practice them for a while. After all, 100 skills are not as good as one master, and the time cost cannot be spent. But if it were Yi Qing who had incredible understanding, he would not be burdened by too many skills. Anyway, he would master it once he practiced it, and he could easily perfect it. It also allowed him to accumulate martial arts knowledge. At night, it's still time for medicinal baths, which can not only relax muscles and relieve fatigue, but also nourish the body and slightly improve your qualifications. Although the effect is not that good, over time, it is still very good. The 3rd day, the 4th day, the 5th day. Time passed day by day, and Yi Qing still got up early every day to practice the innate breathing method, practiced boxing and kicking in the afternoon, and took medicinal baths in the evening. Her life was extremely monotonous, but also extremely fulfilling. As for all the major events that happened in the original plot, such as the dragon-slaying knife incident, Yi Qing ignored them. The 9-yang scripture in the depths of Kunlun Mountain, the great shift of the universe in the secret passage of Guangmingding Peak of the Ming sect, part of the 9-yin scripture in the tomb of the living dead in Zhongnan Mountain, the Dugu 9 swords in the Sword Demon Valley outside Xiangyang City, etc., are also an incredible opportunity. Go find it. First, his cultivation is too weak and he doesn't want to compete with the other 999 candidates right now. He has incredible understanding and supernatural powers. As long as he persists in practicing patiently, he will be able to surpass all candidates in a short time. Second, it is unnecessary. The Kongtong sect does not have its unique skills. For example, the 7-injury fist is definitely an underestimated boxing technique. Its power is probably not much inferior to the 18 palms of subduing the dragon. There is also the wood spirit immortality technique created by Mu Lingxi, the founder of the Kongtong sect, which is as powerful as the 9-yang manual. As for the evidence, the real conditions for practicing 7-injury fist require extremely deep internal strength. In the original plot, Zhang Wuji also fought against others when he was studying medicine in Butterfly Valley, but at that time, he had not yet practiced the 9-yang manual, so he did not use the 7-injury fist. It can be seen that he knew from Xie that those with insufficient skills would hurt others and themselves by practicing the 7-injury fist. In the Guangmingding plot, it was because of Monk Peng's Chenkin Chi bag that he broke the last shackles of the 9-yang manual, allowing this skill to reach perfection. At the same time, his skill skyrocketed, and his recovery power was amazing and endless. When he was facing off against the 5 elders of Kongtong in the square, he quickly learned the 7-injury fist because of the 9-yang sutra and used it. Not only was it powerful, but he would not hurt others first and then himself. It can be seen from this that the unique skill of 7-injury fist must be in the innate realm in order to practice it normally, and its 7-fold fist power can also temper one's internal organs. And Mu Lingxi relied on his 7-injury fist to become a powerful force in the world, and founded the Kongtong sect. In just a few decades, it could rival the Shaolin Temple. It can be seen that the internal skills and mental methods he cultivated must also be at the level of unique skills. In terms of power alone, it is not inferior to the 9-yang manual. It is just that in terms of additional functions, such as being able to quickly learn other martial arts, it is not as good as that. It was precisely because of knowing these things that during the 7 days after Yi Qing came to this dungeon world, he did not abandon the near and seek the far away. He went to Wudang, Shaolin and other sects to become apprentices and plan his unique skills. Instead, he found a way to persuade his father Yi Hai, sold a large amount of his family property, raised 100,000 taels of gold in 7 days, became a disciple of the Kongtong sect, and became the direct disciple of the 5 elders of Kongtong. In his plan, with the status of his personal disciple, as long as his realm and strength reach a certain level, he is qualified to learn all the martial arts of the Kongtong sect. As for the innate magical power of awakening understanding and defying heaven, for Yi Qing, it is purely an unexpected surprise, which makes his plan smoother and his future potential will become higher. In the blink of an eye, 5 years have passed. In the martial arts square of the Kongtong sect, 6 figures were fighting non-stop, and the roaring sound was endless. There were densely packed people all around the square. At a glance, there were no less than 1,000 people in total. Judging from the situation, the inner disciples, lay disciples and handyman disciples of the Kongtong sect have basically all arrived, and all the elders of the Kongtong sect are also watching the battle. The 6 people fighting in the center of the square were none other than Yi Qing and Kongtong Wu Lao, and it was Yi Qing fighting against 5 people. I saw that he was not falling behind at all, and was even faintly suppressing the 5 elders of Kongtong. Suddenly, a fierce aura emanated from his whole body, and he clapped both palms at the same time, yin-yang grinding. In an instant, 2 forces, one yin and one yang, surged out and swept towards the Kongtong 5 elders in a spiral manner. There was a loud bang, and the 5 elders of Kongtong were knocked away on the spot. After landing, they spurted out a mouthful of blood. It looked like they were seriously injured. Seeing this, Yi Qing rushed over and helped the 5 people up. 5 masters, are you okay? Guan Danang, the eldest among the 5 elders of Kongtong, waved his hand. It's not a big problem. As long as you practice for a period of time, you can return to your peak. On the other hand, my disciple, I didn't expect that in just 5 years, you would have cultivated to the 7th level of the acquired world and become a top master in the world. He even perfected the yin-yang grinding palm technique, and his combat power is comparable to the 8th level of acquired skills. He defeated the 5 of us head-on. God has truly blessed me, the Kongtong sect. After sighing, Guan Nang continued. Disciple, the 5 of us promise that if one day your martial arts surpasses ours, you will be qualified to become the 3rd leader of our Kongtong sect. Today you have defeated 5 of us in front of everyone in our Kongtong sect, so the position of leader belongs to you. As the saying goes, it's better to choose a day than to hit it. Taking advantage of your current power, I, as a teacher, will announce this to everyone. Then he saw Guan Nang, using his internal energy, and shouted loudly, everyone in the Kongtong sect, listen to your orders. Yi Qing, my common disciple of the 5 elders of Kongtong, has now reached the ultimate level and defeated the 5 of us head-on. According to the decree of my previous head of Kongtong, whoever is the first to break through and become the ultimate master of the Kongtong sect can take charge of Kongtong and become the 3rd generation of head. Do you have any objections? When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but look at each other and started talking about it. Suddenly, a dozen elders who were at the 4th level of the acquired realm standing in front of many disciples knelt on one knee and said, we have no objections. Let's pay homage to the master. The elders all knelt down. Many disciples who dared to have any opinions also learned to kneel down on one knee and said, I will pay my respects to the master. Seeing the 5 elders of Kongtong signaling to him, Yi Qing took a deep breath, stepped forward, looked at the crowd and said, everyone, please get up. From today on, I, Yi Qing, am the 3rd generation leader of the Kongtong sect. I hereby promise that I will bring the Kongtong sect back to its original glory when Patriarch Mu Lingxi was alive, and even lead the Kongtong sect to another level. When everyone heard this, hope and longing suddenly appeared in their eyes. The master is mighty. The master is mighty. At this time, an elder asked, Master, would you like to choose a good and auspicious day to take over the position of master in front of all the heroes in the world? After Yi Qing thought for a moment, he waved his hand and said, no need for this. I just made a breakthrough, not an innate realm. This is too high profile. There are many people who are better than me in the world, and even you-wanting masters are eyeing me. Until I achieve great success in martial arts, it's better to keep a low profile. All you need to do is send a message to the various sects and inform them of my taking over as the leader. When I break through the innate realm in the near future, that will be the day when my Kongtong sect becomes powerful in the world. Although he said this, only Yi Qing himself guessed that on the second day after he joined the Kongtong sect, he suddenly understood the innate breathing method and started practicing it. He was already considered an innate powerhouse. It's just that the 8 extraordinary meridians are not connected, and there is no matching innate combat power, so it can only be called pseudo-innate. Now, 5 years have passed, and with the help of daily hard training, plus a large amount of medicated diet, medicated baths and elixirs, he has accumulated quite a strong innate true energy in his dantian. If it explodes with all its strength, the strength it exerts may be comparable to the 3rd level of innate realm. With such strength, he can be regarded as the top powerhouse in the entire martial arts world. But the crux of the matter is that in addition to the existence of innate strong men in the martial arts world, there are also some innate antiques in the Yuan dynasty. Wudang Patriarch Zhang Sanfang, as the most powerful man in the world today, dominates the entire world. Under normal circumstances, he can sneak into the capital of Yuanting and single-handedly wipe out the emperor of Yuanting and all the civil and military officials. But he didn't do this, not because he didn't want to, but because the old antiques in Yuanting who had innate realm could block him and prevent him from doing this. Therefore, since he founded the Wudang sect, he has always stayed on Wudang Mountain, rarely going down the mountain, and constraining each other with the strong men of Yuanting. If Yi Qing shows his full strength now, it will definitely attract the attention of Yuanting masters, who will target and assassinate him at all costs. After all, it only took an ordinary person, and an ordinary person of an older age, to cultivate to the 3rd level of the innate realm in just 5 years. If he was given another period of time, who knows how far he could grow. In addition, there are many college entrance examination students who are also dungeon pioneers. Most of them will try their best to eliminate Yi Qing, lest Yi Qing take over all the benefits of this dungeon in the future and leave them with nothing. Rather than getting the attention of powerful people from all walks of life for a false reputation, it is better to continue to lie dormant, wait for the opportunity, and soar into the sky. I believe that the major sects in the martial arts world will not take it to heart after knowing that he is just a super strong man who has just broken through the 7th level of acquired life. At most, they will just praise him, saying that there are successors to the Kongtong sect. This is also true. When the news about Yi Qing, the general of the Kongtong sect, broke through and took over as the 3rd generation leader, it did not cause much of a sensation. In addition to the 3 sects of Wudang, Shaolin and Ma who sent a large congratulatory gift, the Kunlun sect and the Washan sect just sent people to send letters of congratulations. The big forces such as Tianying sect, Mingzhou and Yuanting were completely indifferent. Even many small forces far away from the Kongtong sect's territory ignored them. No matter how strong the Kongtong sect is, you can't control them. Only the many small forces, gangs, and martial arts schools within the Kongtong sect sent congratulatory gifts. Although the value is relatively ordinary, when added together, it can be regarded as a good windfall, which can alleviate the urgent needs a little. A year later, in the small martial arts field in the courtyard of the leader, Yi Qing was shirtless, riding a horse, motionless. Each of the 5 Kongtong elders took an iron rod and beat Yi Qing all over his body. Every time he beat him, Yi Qing's body would make a clanging sound, as if his skin was metal. If you listen carefully, you can even faintly hear the roar of dragons and tigers from Yi Qing's body. The 5 of them beat her for half an hour, and finally stopped when blood marks appeared on Yi Qing's skin. When the maid standing not far away saw this, she immediately stepped forward and applied the prepared ointment evenly to Yi Qing's body. Suddenly, waves of strong medicinal power penetrated into Yi Qing's skin and began to moisturize his flesh and bones, making him feel refreshed. At this time, Guan Nang, the eldest of the 5 elders in Kongtong, sighed, "Disciple, after you took over as the leader a year ago, you said that you want to cultivate both internal and external practitioners, and you cannot let the physical body become your shortcoming." So he sent people to collect the iron cloth shirts and incomplete Shaolin golden bells that are widely circulated in the martial arts world. After he attained perfection, he created his own dragon tiger golden body technique. From the beginning, the 5 of us broke through the defense easily, but now we have to hit it with all our strength with an iron rod for half an hour before we can break through the defense. It's very powerful, but this way of training is a bit weird, isn't it? Do you have to be beaten all the time to make rapid progress? Why don't you just name it the beating magic skill? Hearing Master Guan Neng's complaints, Yi Qing's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Was he beaten with magical power? Although it is quite true, the name does not sound good. If this spreads out, I'm afraid people will laugh out loud. Therefore, in order to sound powerful and domineering, I specially named it Dragon Tiger Golden Body Kung Fu. Dragon is taken from the iron cloth shirt with the dragon's chant that he suddenly realized after he understood the iron cloth shirt completely. Tiger is taken from the roaring golden bell that he suddenly realized after he understood the incomplete golden bell. The word, golden body, means that he integrated the mysteries of the dragon's roaring iron shirt and the tiger's roaring golden bell, two body training techniques into one. When the practice is completed, once activated, the watch will appear golden. This is the origin of the name of the Dragon Tiger Golden Body Kung Fu. When Yi Qing was thinking about this, the second master Zhang Weixia also said, "Disciple, as the leader, there is one thing you need to know, that is, our Kongtong sect's money is running out. If everyone in the sect continues to maintain the current supply of resources, it can last for 2 months at most." Hearing this, Yi Qing couldn't help but frown. 2 months. So little. Didn't the 5 masters at the beginning say that the 100,000 taels of gold that I paid for my apprenticeship, plus the annual income of the Kongtong sect itself, could maintain the current resource supply standards for a full 10 years? Why is it that only 6 years have passed and I can't hold on any longer? Now, it was Kongtong Wu Lao's turn to twitch his lips. "Disciple, under normal circumstances, it can indeed last 10 years. But have you forgotten that your understanding is too strong and you are old, which leads to the various resources you consume far higher than normal standards? If you don't talk about anything else, let's talk about your Dragon and Tiger Golden Body skill. We admit that it is very powerful. After perfecting the practice, its defensive power can reach the innate realm, no less than the complete 12-level Golden Bell of Shaolin Temple. But the key is that if you want quick results, you have to use a specially prepared secret medicine. It just so happens that the value of the secret medicine is extremely high. Such a small bottle is worth 100 taels of silver, and you have to consume 3 bottles when you apply it on your whole body after practicing every day. Over the past year, just the secret medicine for the Dragon and Tiger Golden Body skill has consumed about 100,000 taels of silver. Calculate for yourself, do our Kongtong sect have enough money? Hearing this, Yi Qing fell silent. He didn't expect that he had consumed nearly half of the Kongtong sect's wealth in the past few years. It seems that the Kongtong sect and the 5 elders of the Kongtong sect really spared no effort for him. Disciple, you are the 3rd generation leader of our Kongtong sect and the hope for the future. Your resource supply must not be cut off, otherwise it will slow down your cultivation speed. For the current plan, we can only cut off the resource supply to other people in the Kongtong sect and give priority to you. At the end of the year, the Kongtong sect received financial donations from various sources, and then distributed some resources to others as compensation. Yi Qing shook his head after hearing this. 5 masters, there is no need for this. In the past 6 years, the resources of the Kongtong sect have been opened up, allowing many disciples and elders to improve by leaps and bounds. There are hundreds of first-rate masters who have broken through to the acquired 4th level or above, and there are about a dozen who have broken through to the acquired 5th level. There are 5 more masters. The master and the second master are already at the peak of the acquired 6th level, and are only 1 step away from the peak of the acquired 7th level. The 3rd master, the 4th master, and the 5th master have also entered the 6th level of the acquired realm, and are about to catch up with the master and the second master. Most of the people in our Kongtong sect have relatively average qualifications. If we had not opened up the supply of resources at the beginning, I am afraid that most of them would not have made much progress now. So, if we don't have enough money, let's solve the money problem. We must not cut off the resource supply to other people in the Kongtong sect. Otherwise, no matter how powerful I am, I can't lead the Kongtong sect to surpass all the big names and become the largest sect in the martial arts world. Hearing this, the 5 elders of Kongtong sighed one after another. Disciple, how come we don't know this truth? We are just a group of warriors. We are good at fighting with others, but if we are asked to make money, isn't that making things difficult for us? Yi Qing smiled slightly. 5 masters, you don't need to make money, you just need to bring people and sacks to hold the money. The 5th elder in Kongtong was a little confused, bringing a sack to hold money. Disciple, what do you mean by this? Yi Qing explained. At the beginning, the reason why I was able to convince my father to raise 100,000 taels of gold without breaking a sweat was mainly because I knew the whereabouts of a big treasure. It was Emperor Liang Yuan of the southern and northern dynasties who plundered the wealth and hid it before the country was destroyed. There are a lot of gold and silver jewelry inside, and their total value is estimated to be no less than millions of taels of gold. Originally, it was left to my father to do business. However, because of my super understanding, I became the direct disciple of the 5 masters, and my status is the same as that of the young master. This enabled my father to gain great convenience when doing business within the territory of the Kongtong sect. In just a few years, he recovered 30% of the family property, which is enough for the family, so he did not look for the treasure of Emperor Liang Yuan. Now, since my father doesn't need it and the Kongtong sect is short of money, let the 5 masters personally take people to get it. As long as they all are brought back, the Kongtong sect will not have to worry about the supply of resources for decades. Question. The treasure of Emperor Liang Yuan can be regarded as an advantage unique to Yi Qing, a time traveler. Because apart from him, other college entrance examination students, even if they knew the plot, also knew about the existence of Emperor Liang Yuan's treasure in the Lianchengju dungeon world, but they never thought that the Lianchengju dungeon world came from the same source as the Yishan dungeon world. Therefore, no one has ever thought that there is actually a treasure of Emperor Liang Yuan in Yishan world. Upon hearing this explanation, Kongtong 5 elders suddenly became excited. Disciple, where exactly is Emperor Liang Yuan's treasure? Zhongling City in Hubei province can also be called Jingzhou City. There is a Tianning temple there. There is a stone Buddha in the temple. The stone Buddha is hollow inside, so a large amount of gold and silver jewelry is hidden. In addition, there is an underground secret room under the stone Buddha, which also hides a large amount of gold and silver jewelry. The 5 masters can personally lead people to pick it up quietly, but be careful not to touch it directly with your hands, because those gold and silver jewelry are highly poisonous and must be treated first. How to do it specifically? 5 masters have been in the world for many years, so they should know how to deal with it, right? Kongtong Wulao smiled and said, Disciple, you don't have to worry about this. If we didn't know it was poisonous, we might still be tricked, but if we knew it was poisonous in advance, then there would be no problem. Just wait for our good news in the Kongtong sect. After saying that, the 5 elders of Kongtong left in a hurry to prepare for this trip to collect the treasure. After about 3 days of preparation, the 5 elders of Kongtong left quietly with 20 people. These 20 people are all top-notch masters at the acquired 5th level, plus the 5 Kongtong elders who are all at the acquired 6th level. Even if they meet a single top-acquired master at the 8th level, they will have to avoid the edge for a while. Therefore, Yi Qing is not too worried about their safety. The only worry is whether people from the Wudang clan will find out. After all, the entire Hubei province is the territory of the Wudang clan, and there are Wudang clan informants everywhere. If you make a little bit of noise, the Wutang clan may be alerted. I hope the 5 elders of Kongtong and their group can be more cautious and would rather spend more time than let the news leak out. Anyway, the Kongtong sect's money can still last for 2 months. Time flies by, and 50 days have passed quickly. Seeing that there were only 10 days left in the 2-month period, Yi Qing, who was practicing in his courtyard, finally received a report from the disciples of the Kongtong sect, saying that the 5 supreme elders had returned with many elders. Without the slightest hesitation, Yi Qing immediately stopped practicing and went to the gate of Kongtong sect to greet him. 5 masters, you are finally back. If you don't come back, my disciple will have to go down the mountain to find you in person. Hearing Yi Qing's concern, the 5 elders of Kongtong felt warm in their hearts, and they joked, You brat, are you worried that the Kongtong sect will run out of money and resources which will affect your cultivation? After a brief exchange of greetings, Yi Qing asked about the business. 5 masters, why did your trip take so long? The 5th elder of Kongtong explained, Not yet, my disciple, but your information is wrong. When we arrived in Jingzhou City, we found that there was no Tianning temple there at all. After spending half a month and doing some research, we found out that the Jingzhou city you mentioned was destroyed by the war in the late Song dynasty. After Yuanting took over the Central Plains, he moved Jingzhou city to a nearby county. After the original Jingzhou city was rebuilt, Yuanting changed its name to another name. If Tianning Temple hadn't been a little famous in several nearby counties, we probably wouldn't have been able to find it until now. After hearing this, Yi Qing carefully recalled his past life memories and found that the historical records seemed to be like that, but he had not thought of this before, and he suddenly felt embarrassed. At this time, Guan Neng spoke again. Although this trip took a little more time, it was worth it. This Emperor Liang Yuan is worthy of being the former lord of a country, and the treasures he left behind are indeed of astonishing value. We have made a rough calculation. The total value of all kinds of gold, silver and jewelry is almost 3 million taels of gold. Even if it is used to form a rebel army of 100,000 elite soldiers, it will be enough to pay for more than 10 years. If our Kongtong sect, which has only about 1,000 people, continues to maintain the current supply of resources, it can last for at least 100 years. Unless our Kongtong sect produces a large number of top masters, or even a large number of innate masters, we may not be able to persist for that long. However, if that day comes, the Kongtong sect will be considered a glorious ancestor. Even if these treasures are used up, it won't matter. Hearing this, Yi Qing said, "Don't worry, 5 masters. The Kongtong sect will definitely have a glorious ancestor one day. Maybe the 5 masters can achieve it themselves after breaking through the innate world." The 5 elders of Kongtong all shook their heads and said, "We know our own qualifications well. When we reach the ultimate realm in the future, it will be the end. It is impossible to break through the innate ones." Yi Qing smiled slightly. "That's not necessarily the case. Please ask the 5 masters to come with me and my disciples. This is not the place to talk." After saying that, Yi Qing took the 5 elders of Kongtong who were confused and returned to his own residence. He handed a secret book that he had prepared long ago to the 5 people. "5 masters, let's take a look at this book first. How is the technique? Innate breathing method." Looking at the 5 big characters on the secret book, Kongtong Wulao couldn't help but curiously opened it and looked carefully. A quarter of an hour later, the 5 elders of Kongtong closed the secret book, with excitement on their faces, and even their breathing became a little faster. "Disciple, what you say in this skill is true. Can you directly breathe out the vitality of heaven and earth in the void, condense the innate true energy, and improve your qualifications?" Yi Qing nodded. "Of course it's true. 5 masters, I will tell you the truth. This technique is what I gained from my sudden enlightenment after listening to the 5 masters explaining the basic internal skills. It can be regarded as an advanced version of the basic internal skills. In the past few years, I have been practicing the innate breathing method and have not practiced basic internal skills." Hearing this, the Kongtong 5 elders had a look of surprise in their eyes. "Sure enough, every time we have played against you in sparring in the past few years, I always feel that the power you exert is much stronger than the acquired internal strength, the power and the innate aura. Similar. Our qualifications are not good, but we met Patriarch Mu Lingxi when we were young, and felt the power of the innate true energy that the Patriarch burst out. We suspected at that time that you might not have practiced basic internal skills, but you didn't tell us, so we didn't ask. We didn't expect that this was true." Seeing that Yi Qing wanted to explain, Guan Neng waved his hand. "Disciple, you don't need to explain anything. We are all veterans and understand your concerns. As the saying goes, you must not have the intention to harm others, and you must have the intention to guard against others. You had just become a disciple at that time, and your relationship with us was not very close, so it is normal to be on guard. Now that you and I have been together as master and disciple for a long time, you haven't come up with this innate breathing method yet. So, we won't blame you." Yi Qing said gratefully, "Thank you 5 masters for your understanding. Now there is an innate breathing method that can improve the qualifications of the 5 masters, and there is a lot of money to buy enough resources. The 5 masters will transform all the acquired internal energy into innate true energy, open up the 8 extraordinary meridians, and step into the true innate realm. It will be just around the corner. Today's Yuanting is declining, and I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on for many more years. When the 5 masters break through the innateness and the Kongtong sect's strength skyrockets, they will be able to help the people in the world overthrow Yuanting. They will definitely leave their names in history and be remembered by future generations. As soon as these words came out, Kongtong Wulao's eyes lit up. It seemed that even a martial artist could not resist the temptation of leaving his name in history. But it's normal if you think about it carefully. Most warriors have good reputations, so naturally they hope to leave their name in history and be famous forever. Chapter 11. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, 2 years have passed since the 5 elders of Kongtong led people to retrieve the treasure of Emperor Liang Yuan. A year and a half ago, Yi Qing opened up the Ren meridian of Ren and Du's second meridian, breaking through to the acquired 8th level. Today, with a powerful force radiating out, he finally opened up the last of the 8 extraordinary meridians, the Du meridian, and officially entered the 9th level of acquired heaven. After cultivating to this point, if you want to break through to the innate realm, there are 2 ways. The first is to locate the position of the Zhongguan orifice in your body through constant awareness of yourself. A mysterious orifice is equivalent to a sealed door in the body. If it is broken, it can absorb the vitality of the outside world and transform its own internal energy into innate true energy. This method depends on chance and luck. If you are lucky, you can quickly locate and break through the mysterious door, and break through the innate. If you are not lucky, it will take a long time. The second is to condense one's own spiritual power every day and carefully build a bridge between heaven and earth in the body to connect the Dantian with the outside world, so as to absorb the vitality of heaven and earth and achieve a breakthrough. This method is a stupid method. It is used by many warriors with ordinary qualifications. It will naturally take a long time. Most of the people who have achieved innate breakthroughs in the martial arts throughout the ages also used this method. If anyone else uses that method, it will take a while, but if it is Yi Qing, it will be different. He has been practicing the innate breathing method since the beginning. Now that he has opened up the 8 extraordinary meridians, he has already achieved the result. It is not easy to work backwards and backwards. I saw him mobilizing the Shantian true qi in his Dantian, swimming all over his body, and using his own mental power tempered by the Shantian true qi to carefully sense the position of the entrance. Soon he sensed a feeling of obstruction somewhere in his body. If he sensed it carefully, he could even faintly sense the vitality of the outside world through that obstruction. There is no doubt that the obstruction is the location of his entrance. It only took half a quarter of an hour from the time he started to sense it to the time he located the entrance, which shows the advantage of Shantian qi in this aspect. If it were someone else who used acquired internal strength and untempered mental strength to sense the entrance, I don't know how long it would take. At this moment, after Yi Qing sensed the mysterious entrance aperture, he did not break it directly. Instead, he mobilized his mental power and began to condense the bridge of heaven and earth to connect Dantian and the mysterious entrance aperture. In his opinion, whether it is breaking through a mysterious entrance or building a bridge between heaven and earth, he can break the shackles, realize the internal and external circulation of the body, and step into the innate realm. Then when he uses the 2 methods together to break through the innate, will the amount of heaven and earth energy absorbed be more than one method alone? Will it be faster? With this idea in mind, Yi Qing was ready to give it a try. Anyway, with the innate true energy and the mental power tempered by the innate true energy, it would not take much time to locate the entrance or build the bridge between heaven and earth. Sure enough, in just half an hour, he successfully built a bridge between heaven and earth, connecting Dantian and Shuangguan. The next moment, as Yi Qing exerted his strength, the bridge of heaven and earth collided violently, instantly breaking the entrance and connecting to the outside world, successfully establishing an internal and external circulation. In an instant, the entrance to the entrance and the bridge between heaven and earth all emitted a violent suction force, frantically sucking in the vitality of the surrounding heaven and earth. Perhaps the vitality of heaven and earth in the void is too weak to meet Yi Qing's physical needs, which makes the suction of the Shuangguan A orifice and the bridge of heaven and earth continue to increase, pulling the vitality of heaven and earth from a farther range. If there are innate experts at the scene, they will see a huge vortex funnel of heaven and earth energy appearing in the sky above the Kongtong sect, covering a radius of 20 to 30 miles. It looks extremely terrifying. It is a pity that neither the Kongtong sect nor the Taoist priests in the entire Kongtong mountain are innately powerful, so naturally they cannot see the whirlpool funnel phenomenon of heaven and earth vitality. At most, I can only feel a breeze, rushing towards the direction of Kongtong sect Yi Qing. Moreover, compared with this phenomenon of heaven and earth's vitality, the amount of heaven and earth's vitality that Yi Qing absorbs when operating the innate breathing method is simply a drop in the bucket. After an unknown amount of time, the invisible vortex funnel phenomenon of heaven and earth vitality finally dissipated. Then, an extremely powerful force burst out from Yi Qing's body and swept away in all directions. Although Yi Qing restrained the power of his innate breakthrough in time, it still spread a bit and was sensed by some people around him. Fortunately, there are only a few elders living around Yi Qing, apart from the 5 elders of Kongtong. They are all veterans and will not reveal the secret of Yi Qing's innate breakthrough without permission. On the other side, after Yi Qing restrained her innate power, she carefully sensed the situation in her dantian. He was pleasantly surprised to find that the amount of innate true energy in his body had increased by about 10 times compared with before the breakthrough, and even the purity had increased by 30%. You know, according to the notes written by Patriarch Mu Lingxi, when he broke through the Shantian, he used the method of locating the Zan Pass. After the breakthrough, the amount of Shantian true qi only increased by 30%. Sure enough, Yi Qing's idea is correct. Breaking through the mysterious entrance and building the bridge between heaven and earth will break through together, and the energy of heaven and earth will be swallowed and refined more. In addition, he has been condensing the Shantian true qi from the very beginning of his training, which has also played a big role. Otherwise, even if the 2 breakthrough methods are superimposed, I am afraid that the Shantian true qi will not increase tenfold. After checking his own situation, Yi Qing's brows moved slightly, as if he sensed that more than 10 people were coming to his courtyard. They were probably attracted by the power they exuded when they just broke through the innate. Just as he was about to go out, he smelled a stench coming from his body. It was even worse than when he first had his enlightenment and practiced the innate breathing method. Even though he has officially broken through Shantian now, it is still a bit unbearable. There is no doubt that these are the impurities discharged when the energy of heaven and earth was absorbed and transformed, the muscles and marrow were washed again, and the body was reborn. So, Yi Qing did not rush to the courtyard, but went to the well in the backyard, fetched some well water, cleaned herself, and then walked towards the courtyard in front. When Yi Qing came to the courtyard, the 5 elders of Kongtong immediately came up to him and asked with an expectant look, "Disciple, did the power you just exuded break through the innate?" Yi Qing looked at the 5 elders of Kongtong, and then at the dozen elders on the other side who were staring closely at him. He couldn't help but nodded and said, "5 masters, elders, I have indeed broken through the innate realm just now." As soon as these words came out, everyone suddenly became excited. "Congratulations to my disciple for his breakthrough. Congratulations to the leader for breaking through Shantian." Yi Qing smiled slightly and said, "Thank you all. Now the Kongtong sect has a huge amount of wealth and an unlimited supply of resources. As long as you are willing to work hard and practice hard, you may not have the opportunity to break through your innateness in the future." Everyone also smiled and replied, "I look forward to accepting the master's good words." At this time, an elder suddenly asked, "Master Qi, do we want to spread the news about the master's innate breakthrough? And hold an innate celebration for the leader, inviting all forces in the martial arts to participate, to enhance the prestige of our Kongtong sect?" Yi Qing thought for a while and said, yes, but I suggest waiting for another 2 years. Because we took Emperor Liang Yuan's treasure, our Kongtong sect is in a period of rapid development. But in the entire Kongtong sect, apart from me, the strongest ones are the 5 masters. Their cultivation is only at the 7th level of acquired skills. Their strength is average among the strongest. The elders have just broken through to the 6th level of the acquired world. This shows that the overall strength of the Kongtong sect is not very strong. If we wait another 2 years, the 5 masters should be able to break through the 8th level of acquired skills. You elders are lucky enough to be able to break through to the acquired 7th level and become extremely powerful. Even if you are unable to break through, you can still reach the peak of the acquired 6th level. There are still many disciples, and the number of people who have broken through to the 5th and 6th levels of the day after tomorrow will also increase greatly. By then, the overall strength of the Kongtong sect will have skyrocketed. Even if it is not as good as Shaolin Wudang, it will not be far behind. Besides, I calculated the time. 2 years from now, it will be Wudang Master Zhang's 100th birthday. Presumably all the forces in the martial arts world will go to Wudang Mountain to congratulate the world's #1 man on his birthday. At that time, an accident may happen. In addition to congratulating everyone in the Kongtong sect, if I show my strength in front of the heroes of the world, I will definitely be able to make a big splash. The effect will be far better than the effect of my innate breakthrough now. What do you think? After listening to Yi Qing's explanation, everyone nodded secretly. What the leader said makes sense. Then we will listen to the leader and wait 2 years to make a blockbuster success on Master Zhang's 100th birthday. Yi Qing looked at the crowd and asked, "Elders, do you have anything else to say? If not, just step back. I have something to discuss with the 5 masters." After hearing this, all the elders naturally said goodbye and left with a wink, leaving only the 5 elders of Kongtong staying here. After Yi Qing brought the 5 elders of Kongtong into the room and sat down, he said, "5 masters. Before I broke through my innate nature, I practiced the 7-injury fist and the wood spirit evergreen kung fu left by the ancestor Mu Ling Si. It was harmful but useless, so you never gave me the secrets. Now that I have officially broken through Shantian, can you give me a look at these 2 peerless techniques?" The 5 elders of Kongtong looked at each other and laughed. "We know that you, disciple, have never forgotten these 2 exercises. So, when I sensed that you had broken through the innate realm, I brought these 2 techniques together. Please take a good look at them." After saying that, Guan Neng took out 2 secret books from his arms and handed them to Yi Qing. Yi Qing first opened the 7-injury fist and read it carefully from beginning to end. You have watched the 7-injury fist manual, you have learned the 7-fold fist strength, and you have fully understood the 7-injury fist. You discovered that the 7-fold punching power of Kashuquan contains the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, which can temper the 5 internal organs and reconcile yin and yang. You start to take the initiative to understand evolution, the evolution is successful, and you create the yin-yang 5 elements body refining method. In an instant, a huge amount of memory poured into Yi Qing's mind. After he absorbed and digested it, a hint of joy appeared in his eyes. Unexpectedly, with his heaven-defying understanding, he actually comprehended the yin-yang 5 elements body refining technique from the 7-injury fist, a unique body refining technique at the golden elixir level of martial arts. The golden core realm of martial arts is the next realm after the Shantian realm in the Yishan dungeon world. It is also the highest realm that warriors have reached in the past history of this dungeon world. The so-called swallowing a golden elixir into the belly means that my fate is up to me. It's a pity that as the vitality of heaven and earth gradually dissipates, the golden elixir realm of martial arts has long become a legend, and there has been no strong man of this level for many years. So much so that most warriors in this era don't know the name of this realm. Getting back to the subject, before this, Yi Qing was still troubled because 2 years had passed and his Dragon Tiger Golden Body skill was about to be completed and he would have an innate physical body. By then, it will be difficult for his physical body to progress further. Unexpectedly, he has now comprehended the yin-yang and 5-element body refining methods. This technique requires the physical body to reach the innate state at the beginning. Through the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements of the 7-injury fist, the physical body is continuously tempered, so that the strength of the physical body continues to increase, and finally breaks through to the golden elixir state of martial arts. Once he has perfected the Dragon Tiger Golden Body skill, he will be able to seamlessly continue practicing. I have gained so much by meditating on the 7-injury fist. I wonder what can be gained by meditating on the better quality wood spirit evergreen technique. With this in mind, Yi Qing opened the wood spirit Chengqing Gong again and read it carefully. You have watched the wood spirit evergreen technique, and you have understood it to perfection. You find that this technique seems to have unfinished meaning, and its power also contains vitality. You work hard to understand it, and inadvertently enter the state of enlightenment of the unity of heaven and man, and finally grasp a trace of the mystery of life. You integrated this trace of the mystery of life into the wood spirit evergreen technique and successfully created the eternal evergreen technique. Suddenly, another huge memory appeared in Yi Qing's mind. After he absorbed it and digested it, he was filled with ecstasy. Because the eternal green technique is a skill that is 1 level higher than the yin-yang 5 elements body training technique. It is a martial art at the Yuan Shen realm. Although the martial arts Yuanshan realm has not appeared in Yishan dungeon world, it has appeared in other dungeon worlds, and there are even realms that are stronger than the martial arts Yuanshan realm. Yi Qing heard this matter from the teachers in Binhai No. 3 middle school's class. If Yi Qing can perfect the eternal green kung fu during the survival mission and break through the martial arts soul, he will definitely be the most accomplished person in the world of Yishan dungeon, and it can be called unprecedented. After the survival mission is over, the dungeon score obtained will also be greatly improved. In addition, the eternal green technique itself also has a huge effect. After practicing, the body contains rich vitality, which can greatly increase one's lifespan, far exceeding that of strong men in the same realm. I am not afraid of being injured at all. Ordinary wounds can be recovered in an instant. Serious injuries can be recovered slowly as long as they are still alive and do not die on the spot. Even severed limbs can grow back. Of course, this requires perfecting the eternal evergreen gong. There are also some other functions, such as cleansing the tendons and cutting the marrow, and improving qualifications, so I won't go into details. In short, as a martial arts spirit level technique, the eternal green technique can be called the most powerful technique in this dungeon world. After practicing it, it can be said to have many benefits. The only disadvantage is that the quality of this technique is so good that it must be practiced by an innate warrior, and the speed of progress in practice will definitely not be fast. When he and other college entrance examination students came to the Yishan dungeon world, it was the beginning of the second year of Emperor Yuan Shun of the Yuan dynasty. According to the memory of the previous life, it was the beginning of 1336 AD. The main plot ends at the end of 1358 AD. In total, nearly 23 years of survival have passed. Now, 8 years have passed, and there are still 15 years left. I don't know if he can perfect the eternal skill in the remaining 15 years and achieve unprecedented achievements in this world. On the other side, the 5 elders of Kongtong looked at Yi Qing, who was looking happy, and immediately knew that their disciple must have gained a lot of benefits from the 2 innate level exercises left by the ancestor Mu Lingxi. However, the 5 elders of Kongtong did not ask. They had the innate breathing technique and were content with it. Moreover, what their apprentice Yi Qing realized was an opportunity that belonged to Yi Qing, and it might even be suitable only for Yi Qing, not them. Therefore, Yi Qing can say what she wants, and don't force it if she doesn't want to. Just let them be happy in their hearts. Seeing that the 5 elders of Kongtong did not inquire further, Yi Qing gained more recognition for these 5 masters. So, after thinking for a while, he took the initiative to write down the yin-yang 5 elements body refining method and the eternal youth kung fu, and handed them over to the 5 elders of Kongtong for safekeeping, becoming the foundation of the Kongtong sect and the secret of the sect. When they break through their innate abilities in the future, they can also try to practice and see if they can extend their lifespan. After all, as Blue Star's dungeon pioneer, Yi Qing can only stay for another 15 years at most. And the 5 elders of Kongtong will be old after 15 years. Even if they have broken through the innateness, they may not live for a few decades. Not every innate powerhouse, like Zhang Sanfang, can achieve that long. Once they pass away, the Kongtong sect in this dungeon world will slowly decline without the innate strong men in charge. If they can successfully practice the eternal youth kung fu, the 5 elders of Kongtong will definitely extend their lifespan, gain even more time, and have enough time to cultivate a new generation of innate strong men, making the Kongtong sect everlasting. Although Yi Qing doesn't know whether this dungeon world is a real world that can last forever, or a world temporarily created by the dungeon space that will disappear immediately after it ends. But as long as there is a possibility of continued existence, Yi Qing does not want the Kongtong sect to decline. Seeing the 5 elders of Kongtong leaving happily, Yi Qing also began to practice the evergreen skill. As the innate true energy continued to flow through the many meridians in his body, he felt that the speed at which he absorbed the vitality of heaven and earth and transformed it into new innate true energy was more than 10 times faster than when he practiced the innate breathing method before. It is worthy of being a martial arts Yuan Shen level skill. It is 2 levels higher than the Shantian level skill. The effect is just different. At this speed, and with sufficient resource supply, it is estimated that he will be able to transcend the Shantian True Qi realm and break through to the Shantian True Gang realm in just 2 or 3 years. There is no chance that he will become a martial arts soul within 15 years. The innate realm is divided into 3 realms and 9 levels. The first 3 levels are the innate initial stage, which is called the innate true chi realm. It is mainly about accumulating the quantity and purifying quality of the true chi in the dantian. The third level is the middle stage of shantian, which is called the shantian realm. When the junchi in the body grows to the limit of the dantian, you can try to compress and condense the junchi. If 10 strands of true energy can be compressed and condensed into 1 strand of true energy, then this strand of true energy will transform into gang chi, and the realm of cultivation will naturally break through to the innate true gang realm. The last 3 levels are the late shantian stage, called the shantian true liquid realm. When the gang chi in the body grows to the limit and fills the dantian, repeat the previous compression operation and try to compress 10 strands of gang chi into 1 strand. Once successful, the gang chi will liquefy and become true liquid, allowing the cultivation realm to break through to the innate true liquid realm. After seeing the effect of the evergreen kung fu, Yi Qing's practice became even harder. Time passes day by day, and half a year later comes in the blink of an eye. On this day, the 5 elders of Kongtong held an iron rod in their hands, and as usual, they kept hitting various places on Yi Qing's body with all their strength, when they suddenly heard 2 voices coming from Yi Qing's body. Ang, Ho. These 2 voices seemed to have the power to shock the soul, causing Kongtong Wu Lao's body to freeze, and the iron rod in his hand instantly fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. The 5 elders of Kongtong were awakened by the sound, with a look of shock on their faces. This is the dragon's roar and the tiger's roar. Is it possible that my disciple, your dragon tiger golden body skill is about to be perfected? Yi Qing did not answer, because all his energy was put into the transformation of his body and he had no time to answer Kongtong Wu Lao's words. When the dragon roared and the tiger roared, he felt his energy and blood surge wildly in his body, as if he was hitting some shackles. The next moment, with a slight roar, the bottleneck instantly shattered. The entire body glowed with rich golden light and emitted a powerful suction force, wildly devouring the vitality of heaven and earth in the void. His energy and blood flowed out of his body, and behind him, the shadows of a dragon and a tiger formed, roaring into the sky. Seeing this scene, the 5 elders of Kongtong were excited. The golden body of dragon and tiger has been achieved. It is indeed the golden body of dragon and tiger that has been perfected. It seems that my disciple's physical body is undergoing a breakthrough and transformation. Let's exit first and guard the door. No one can disturb our disciple's breakthrough. Perhaps Yi Qing is a warrior in the innate realm, and he can refine the vitality of heaven and earth very quickly and with high efficiency. In just a quarter of an hour, his physical body had completed its transformation and reached the innate level, exuding powerful oppression. From now on, he can simply ignore all innate attacks, because there is no way to break through his physical defense. Even with weapons, only the heavenly sword, dragon-slaying knife and other magical weapons can cut his skin, but they cannot cause too serious damage. Half a year ago, when his internal strength broke through to the innate realm, the quantity and quality of the innate true energy in his body were no less than those of ordinary 4th-level innate Gangchi realm experts. After half a year of hard training, relying on the powerful cultivation efficiency of the eternal evergreen kung fu and massive resources, he has reached the pinnacle of the 1st level of innate cultivation, and is only 1 step away from the 2nd level of innate cultivation. Now, his external skills have also surpassed the innate. With the combination of internal and external, he is already comparable to a master of the 5th level of innate Gangchi realm, and cannot pose much threat to Yi Qing. Even an ordinary 6th-level innate strong person at the peak of the Gangchi realm can only severely injure him at most, but cannot kill him. Therefore, Yi Qing plans to travel for a while to gain more knowledge and experience. Although his current cultivation level is not weak, he lacks the means to protect himself. The Kongtong sect only has the unique martial art of 7-injury fist, which is quite powerful, but unfortunately it is too simple. It is okay to encounter weak people, but when encountering strong people, once the enemy finds out, he may have no choice but to escape. In addition, if you want to cultivate to the martial arts Yuanshan realm before the end of the production task, you cannot rely solely on ordinary resources. The progress is too slow. You must also obtain heavenly materials and earthly treasures to speed up your cultivation. Therefore, he was going to go to the place where he knew many treasures of heaven, earth, treasures and magical secrets to see if the college entrance examination pioneers who entered the world of this dungeon with him had occupied or looted all these things. If there is a chance, he will naturally get it. After making a decision in his heart, Yi Qing immediately walked out, invited the 5 elders of Kongtong in, and said, 5 masters, the disciple has completed the physical breakthrough, please trouble the 5 masters and disciples to protect the law. Kongtong Mulao smiled slightly and said, it doesn't matter, as long as your breakthrough is guaranteed to be uninterrupted, no matter how hard it is, we are willing to do it. Yi Qing continued, 5 masters, it has been 8.5 years since I joined the Kongtong sect. Except for important festivals every year, when I go home, I basically stay here on Kongtong Mountain and never leave. Now, my internal and external skills have both stepped into Shantian, and I have enough power to protect myself in the world. So, I'm going to travel a lot, increase my knowledge and experience, broaden my horizons, and look for opportunities to speed up my cultivation. By the way, let's see if we can get a birthday gift that would satisfy Master Wudang Zhang for his 100th birthday. Furthermore, the 5 masters are all top masters at the 7th level of the acquired world. The Master and the second master are not far from the 8th level of the acquired world. Together with many elders of the acquired 6th level, they are enough to protect the safety of the Kongtong sect. Unless someone from the innate power comes to attack, or a master from the 9th level of the acquired world comes, he will only be defeated. I wonder what the 5 masters think. After the 5 elders of Kongtong looked at each other, they all smiled and said, disciple, even if you don't say anything today, we are actually planning to find an opportunity to mention this matter so that you can go out for a trip and broaden your horizons. This will be helpful for your future practice. Benefit. You may become a master by working behind closed doors, but it's hard to become a master. Which master in the past didn't have a wealth of experience when they were young? Even ordinary disciples of our Kongtong sect will go down the mountain to kill bandits every once in a while, or protect the escort bureau and so on. The same is true for the disciples of other major sects. Very few of them will stay at home and practice hard without paying attention to worldly affairs. So, disciple, you can just go out and travel, and leave the Kongtong sect to us to protect you. But you have to remember one thing. Every once in a while, remember to write a letter to say you are safe. Don't let us worry. If anyone needs help from our Kongtong sect, please also write to us and let us know. Don't be afraid of trouble. Yi Qing nodded. Disciple knows, 5 masters, don't worry. The 5 elders of Kongtong continued, it's getting late. Since you are going to travel, you should go and rest first and recuperate. We will send someone to prepare some changes of clothes and other necessary things for you. The next day, Yi Qing quietly left the Kongtong sect with a sword and a baggage. After he came down from the mountain, he went back to his home in Pingliang County to stay for a few days before saying goodbye to his parents and leaving. After recalling the original plot, Yi Qing quickly decided on the first stop of the tour, the Sword Demon Valley outside Xiangyang City. Looking at the many magical secrets in this dungeon world, whether it is the 9 Yang magic technique, the Great Shift of the Universe, or the 9 Yin Manual, etc., they are all relatively conspicuous. For the pioneers of Blue Star, it is not too difficult to know the news. Yi Qing believes that among the other 999 candidates, there must be people with better status and background who know this important plot information. Only the Dugu 9 swords in the Sword Demon Valley is a very secret information that will almost never be exposed. Because the Dugu 9 swords have not appeared in the 3 worlds of Shooting Condor, Divine Condor and Yishin, which are very obviously related, but only appeared in the world of swordsmen. The 2 worlds of Yishin and Xiaoao don't have much connection on the surface. Yi Qing didn't dare to say that he didn't know all the pioneers of Blue Star, but he knew that they were actually people from different eras in the same world. There must be very few. As long as his luck is not too bad, no one among the other 999 candidates should know that the Sword Demon Valley, where the Divine Condor hero Yongguo took away the Divine Condor and several divine weapons, also hides the secret swordsmanship of Dugu 9 swords. In addition to the Dugu 9 swords, there is also the Bodhisattva snake. Without the check and balance of the natural enemy of the Divine Eagle, I am afraid it has become a disaster, right? Their snake gallbladder is a good thing, it can be called a natural treasure. And their snake meat is also a great tonic. As long as the poison is removed, it should be used to make medicinal diet for the disciples of the Kongtong sect, and the effect should be very good. Perhaps the bodhisattva snake has indeed become a plague. When Yi Qing came to Xiangyang City, he did not spend much effort and found out the news about the Bosi snake from a snake catcher. According to what the other party said, there is a dense jungle about 50 miles west of Xiangyang City, and there are many pale golden snakes with horns on their heads. Its size is endless, ranging from as small as 1 foot to as large as several feet. Some people have even seen terrifying strange snakes that are more than 10 feet long. However, such huge snakes are found deep in the jungle and rarely appear on the outskirts of the jungle. Despite this jungle has become a forbidden place in the hearts of many people in Xiangyang City, and even many snake catchers. Unless it is for livelihood, almost no one dares to go there. After inquiring about this information, Yi Qing made some repairs in Xiangyang City, prepared some daily necessities, and went straight to the jungle where the bodhisattva snake was. With his strength, even if he didn't use all his strength, it only took him a quarter of an hour to reach his destination. Looking at the quiet jungle ahead, Yi Qing was not timid and stepped directly in. When he entered the jungle, as if he had touched some kind of restriction, snakes suddenly rushed towards him from the dense trees around him, making hissing sounds from their mouths. Yi Qing looked around and saw that the bodhisattva snakes that appeared around him were densely packed, at least hundreds of them, but unfortunately they were only 1 foot in size. For him, this is too small to look down on at all. With his cultivation in the innate realm, even if he swallows the gallbladders of these small bodhisattva snakes, it will probably be of no use. It has to be at least 3 feet, that is, about 1 meter long. The snake gallbladder has some effect, but it also has to be swallowed in large quantities. It is best to have a bodhisattva snake that is over 1 foot tall. The effect of its gallbladder should be pretty good for him. Therefore, Yi Qing was too lazy to do anything to these tiny bodhisattva snakes. I saw a powerful innate coercion suddenly emitting from his body, which made many bodhisattva snakes instinctively feel that their lives were in danger, and they retreated as fast as possible, not daring to stand in front of him anymore. Upon seeing this, Yi Qing flashed and ran towards the depths of the jungle. As for these small bodhisattva snakes, just wait until you write a letter back to the Kongtong sect and ask the 5 elders of Kongtong to bring some weak Kongtong disciples to hunt them. As Yi Qing moved forward, the sizes of the snakes he encountered became larger and larger. Soon he saw a snake that was over 3 feet in size. After taking a look at the endless dense forest in front of him, and at the 3-foot-long bodhisattva snakes surrounding him, Yi Qing stopped moving forward. Instead, he pulled out the sword in his hand and stabbed the reluctant bodhisattva snake 7 inches. Anyway, he came out this time and planned to go back when Zhang Sanfeng's 100th birthday was approaching, and the Dugu 9 swords in the Sword Demon Valley were buried there, and no one would come to snatch them from him. Therefore, he has enough time to kill countless bodhisattva snakes here and eat their gall. At this moment, when Yi Qing pierced the 7 inches of a bodhisattva snake with his sword and killed it, the surrounding Bosi snakes also launched an attack. Some sprayed out venom, some used their tails as whips and swung them over, and some pounced directly, trying to wrap around Yi Qing and strangle him. If it were anyone else, he might have blocked with his sword, or moved around to avoid the Bosi snake's attack, but Yi Qing ignored it and carefully cut open the Bosi snake he killed and took out the pieces. Snake gallbladder, swallow it in 1 gulp. At the same time, the attacks from the other bodhisattva snakes finally arrived. Unfortunately, with the emergence of a golden light, all the attacks of the bodhisattva snake were blocked. Even if each 3-foot-sized bodhisattva snake explodes with a power equivalent to the acquired level, it still has no effect at all. This is Yi Qing's confidence to ignore the attacks of many bodhisattva snakes, practice the perfect dragon-tiger golden body skill, and create an innate level body. If some bodhisattva snakes hadn't sprayed out venom, Yi Qing was worried that it would corrode his clothes. He didn't want to activate the golden energy contained in his innate body, so he could just resist. After he swallowed the snake gall, he felt a weak warmth emerge, which slightly enhanced his innate energy and physical strength. Sure enough, the gall bladders of these bodhisattva snakes that are over 3 feet tall are effective. After confirming this matter, Yi Qing no longer hesitated, stabbing out the sword in his hand, and in just a few breaths, he killed all the dozens of bodhisattva snakes around him. After picking out all the snake gallbladders and taking them, Yi Qing ignored their corpses and continued to move forward, killing the bodhisattva snakes along the way. Time passed bit by bit, and 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. In these 7 days, he killed countless bodhisattva snakes. There are acquired 1-level bodhisattva snakes ranging from 3 feet to 6 feet, acquired 2-level bodhisattva snakes ranging from 6 feet to 9 feet, and acquired 3-level bodhisattva snakes ranging in size from 9 feet to 10 feet. I don't know how much snake gall I swallowed, which caused the innate true energy in my body to surge by 10%, my strength increased by more than 100 kilograms, and I could see further than before. All he knew was that the gallbladder of the bodhisattva snake, which was under 1 foot below, had no effect on him. So, he had no choice but to continue going deep into the jungle to look for the gallbladders of the bodhisattva snakes that were over 1 foot tall. Under normal circumstances, it wouldn't take long for him to discover the whereabouts of the bodhisattva snake, which is more than 10 feet deep in the depths of the jungle. Unexpectedly, he searched for most of the day and found nothing. Is it possible that there is no bodhisattva snake of such a large size here? Impossible. The snake catcher also said that there are bodhisattva snakes over 10 feet tall. It shouldn't be difficult to find those over 10 feet tall. Yi Qing couldn't figure it out, so she could only expand the scope and continue searching. After more than half a day, he finally made a discovery. Under a big tree, he saw a pile of bodhisattva snake skeletons, all of which were 10 feet in size. There were also signs of a large number of fires being extinguished. Some of the traces are still relatively new and should have been left within the last 10 days and a half. Seeing this, Yi Qing's face darkened. Someone got there first. Although he didn't see it with his own eyes, he had a hunch in his heart that the people hunting these snakes in front of him were probably not the local strong men of this dungeon world, but the dungeon pioneers who were also college entrance examination students. Because only they will come here with a clear purpose, hunt down a large number of bodhisattva snakes, and eat their snake meat and snake gall. I had forgotten before that although almost no one in the Blue Star Pioneers knew about the Dugu 9 swords, the bodhisattva snake in the area around the Sword Demon Valley was not a secret. As long as college entrance examination students with a slightly better background know the information about the Bosi curved snake, it should not be difficult for them to come and hunt the Bosi curved snake, which is a matter of course. I just hope they didn't go to Sword Demon Valley, let alone discover the Dugu 9 swords hidden there. Otherwise, don't blame yourself for being rude. Thinking of this, Yi Qing did not hesitate and immediately followed the human traces and searched all the way. After walking forward for about half a quarter of an hour, passing by piles and piles of bodhisattva snake skeletons ranging in size from 1 to 4 feet, I finally heard the sound of fighting coming from the front, as well as some familiar modern words. Upon hearing this, Yi Qing knew that the other party must be a group of pioneers. When he got closer, he saw 15 people who were at the peak of the acquired 6th level and a young man who was at the early stage of the 7th level. They were holding swords and were surrounding and killing a 5-foot large bodhisattva snake, which was as powerful as the 8th level of the acquired world. Their swordsmanship seemed to be very exquisite. Although they are not unique skills, they are also excellent martial arts. With the blessing of inner strength, the power they unleash is extraordinary. Coupled with the fact that you have to fight with more and less, and the bodhisattva snake has a single attack method, as long as you avoid it carefully, there is not much danger. Therefore, even though the cultivation realm of these people was 2 levels weaker, they still had a huge advantage, leaving deep blood marks on the 5-foot-sized bodhisattva snake. If this continues, it won't take long for this bodhisattva snake to die in the hands of these 10 people. Although these people had hunted a large number of bodhisattva snakes before Yi Qing was still relieved. Judging from the appearance of these people, they should have never practiced Dugu 9 swords, and their cultivation is not enough to support them to go to the Sword Demon Valley deeper in the jungle. Just in this area, simply hunt and kill the bodhisattva snake to increase your cultivation and strength. For Yi Qing, as long as he did not take away the Dugu 9 swords he had planned, the two sides would not be considered life and death enemies. As for the bodhisattva snakes, they are everywhere here, so there is no need for him to attack these people. After all Blue Star College entrance examination students have a resurrection card that can save their lives. What if among the college entrance examination students who died, there were people with huge backgrounds? Then after Yi Qing returns to Blue Star, she will have to bear the revenge from the other party. Therefore, unless one's identity and background in Blue Star is strong enough, or one encounters huge interests, no one can kill others at will and offend the other party. Of course, this situation is limited to the college entrance examination exclusive dungeon world. If you pass the college entrance examination, the resurrection card disappears, and you enter other dungeon worlds. No matter who you are, as long as you dare to be your enemy, you will be killed without mercy. Anyway, after killing the opponent, unless the opponent still has a precious resurrection card, no one will know that it was their own doing. Perhaps sensing Yi Qing's arrival, more than a dozen young men and women subconsciously accelerated their attack. Even regardless of losses, he used some special moves to unleash even more powerful power, killing the 5-foot-sized bodhisattva snake in just a few breaths. Then, I saw a young man step forward and skillfully cut open the body of the bodhisattva snake, dug out the snake's gall, ignored its fishy smell, and swallowed it in one gulp as quickly as possible. The rest of the people turned to face Yi Qing, holding their swords tightly in their hands, acting as if they were on guard. If Yi Qing made any move, they would launch an attack. After a few breaths, the young man who had swallowed the snake gall showed a look of satisfaction, patted the shoulders of his companions and said, "Don't be nervous, this person is not an enemy." Then, he asked Yi Qing, "People of the bright side don't tell secrets. If I guess correctly, you should also be a pioneer, right?" Yi Qing heard this and said with interest, "Oh, how did you know?" The young man explained, "First of all, the way you look at us is not hostile. Secondly, you don't seem surprised that I just swallowed snake gall. You must know the function of snake gall. Finally, this forest of 10,000 snakes is full of bodhisattva snakes. Those who are not pioneers have no interest in coming here, and they even come to a place deep in the forest of 10,000 snakes. So, I guess you are also a pioneer, and you are a pioneer who knows the specific function of the bodhisattva snake. You came here to hunt this snake and swallow its gall. I wonder what you think of my guess." After hearing this, Yi Qing couldn't help but clapped her hands and praised, "Absolutely correct. Just like you, I am indeed a pioneer. Speaking of which, you are very observant. Are you following the path of a wise man?" Hearing Yi Qing admit his identity, the group of people who were on guard before suddenly relaxed. They had the same idea as Yi Qing. In the world of college entrance examination exclusive dungeons where everyone has a resurrection card, as long as the conflict of interest is not serious, there is no need to be enemies. Otherwise, what will happen if they are kicked out of the iron? The young man smiled and waved his hands. "A wise man wouldn't take it seriously. I just like to observe and reason since I was a child." Just to introduce, Binhai City, Binhai Number 1 Middle School, Zhugu. At this time, Zhugu saw Yi Qing showing a strange expression and asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Is there something wrong with my name?" Yi Qing replied, "There's nothing wrong with the name. It's just, my name is Yi Qing, from Binhai Number 3 Middle School in Binhai City." After the words fell, everyone else also showed a strange expression. One of the young men looked envious and said, "Boss, this brother actually comes from the same city as you. Although they are not in the same school, you are so lucky, right? We have a total of hundreds of billions of people in the Dragon Kingdom, and there are more than 1 billion college entrance examination candidates every year, coming from tens of thousands of different cities across the country. When you enter the world of the college entrance examination exclusive dungeon, you will be shuffled and teleported randomly. There are only 1,000 people in each dungeon world. In the case of random transmission, almost everyone comes from different cities. The probability of 2 or more pioneers coming from the same city is very low. Once they appear, unless there is enmity between the two, they will be natural allies. I didn't expect such a small probability thing to happen before our eyes." After hearing what this young man said, everyone not only nodded in agreement, this is indeed a small probability event. The young man continued, "Boss, Brother Yi Qing, I suggest that after you complete the dungeon mission, you must try the points lottery in the dungeon space. Maybe you can get something good." Yi Qing and Zhu Yu were both stunned when they heard this. They felt that this was reasonable. If there was a chance, maybe they could try the points lottery. This thought flashed through the minds of the two of them, and neither of them paid much attention to it. At this time, Zhuge Yu said, "Brother Yi Qing, since we are all from Binhai City and you also know the information about the Bosi curved snake, I won't beat around the bush. Are you willing to join us and hunt the Bosi curved snake with us? Don't worry, our distribution method is fair. Everyone swallows the snake gall in the order discussed in advance, and the cycle continues. After the snake meat is processed, everyone can enjoy it together. The only difference is that I will take 3 snake gallbladders in a row in one round, while the others will only take 1. Because these teammates of mine were recruited by me to organize the game, and the information about the Bodhisattva snake was also provided by me, I should receive some preferential treatment. If Brother Yi Qing is willing to join us, since you and I are from Binhai City and you know the information about the Bodhisattva snake, I can make the decision and let you take 2 snake gallbladders in a row in one round. If you can play half as much role and contribution as I did in hunting the Bosi snake, then you, like me, can take 3 snake gallbladders in a row in one round. Brother Yi Qing, how about it? Think about it carefully." Yi Qing asked, "Oh, are you sure? Are everyone else willing?" The young man shrugged. "Every time we hunt the Bodhisattva snake, the boss's role and contribution account for about 30%. The 15 of us account for 70% together, and the average is less than 5% per person. If your role and contribution can reach half of the boss's, which is 15%, then our average proportion will decrease again. After all, you are at least 3 times our age, so why should we have any objections?" The rest of the people also agreed. "Yes, as long as you can meet the boss's requirements, we have no objection." Zhuge Yu asked himself. The conditions he gave were considered very superior, and most people would not refuse them. It's a pity that Yi Qing is not an ordinary person, so naturally he will not join the opponent's team. I saw Yi Qing smile slightly. "Zhuge Yu, I have received your kindness. But there's no need to join you. I hope that next time we meet, your strength will be enhanced." After saying this, Yi Qing's figure flashed and headed deeper into the 10,000 snake forest. Seeing this scene, Zhuge Yu and others' pupils shrank, because Yi Qing's speed was too fast. Even if Zhuge Yu, the strongest among them, moved at full speed, he could not reach 1/3 of the opponent's speed. If Yi Qing's speed is only slightly faster than Zhuge Yu, it may not mean that the opponent's strength is stronger than Zhuge Yu. But Yi Qing's speed was more than 3 times faster than Zhuge Yu's, which was enough to prove that the other party's strength was definitely far superior to Zhuge Yu's. Looking at Yi Qing's back disappearing into the depths of the jungle ahead, Zhuge Yu showed a wry smile. "I didn't wake up enough to make a mistake. My fellow countryman's strength is far superior to mine. I wonder if it's the 8th level or the 9th level of the day after tomorrow. No wonder he doesn't want to join us. With his strength, he is qualified to hunt the Bosnian snake alone in this forest of 10,000 snakes. If he really joins us, he will be held back." The young man from before comforted him. "Boss, you don't have to be sad. You are extremely talented. Not long after you came to the dungeon world, you became a disciple of Wudang. You were accepted as the 8th personal disciple by Master Zhang of Wudang. Now, in just 8 years, you have already reached the 7th level of acquired skills. With such strength, he is at the forefront among all the pioneers in this world. What's more, Master Zhang is the best master in the world. With his guidance, you will have no problem cultivating all the way to the innate realm. You may not be able to overtake this fellow like you. In comparison, not every pioneer has the best person in the world as his master." When Zhuge Yu heard this, a somewhat confident smile appeared on his face again. "I hope so. But why do I always feel like I've heard the name Yi Qing somewhere? What about you? Boss, your own fellow countryman, are you here to ask us?" The young man rolled his eyes and replied, "However, hearing you say it like this, I seem to have heard this name somewhere before." Others also agreed, feeling that the name, Yi Qing, sounded familiar. After everyone thought carefully, they suddenly thought of something, their eyes widened, and they said in unison, "Yi Qing, the 3rd-generation leader of the Kongtong sect." This time, everyone fell silent. Everyone is a pioneer, but I didn't expect that while I was still a disciple, someone else had already become the leader of a sect. Where did this monster come from? At this time, the young man suddenly clapped his hands. let me tell you why Yi Ching is stronger than the boss and us. It turns out to be because of his status as the head of the Kongtong sect. The Kongtong sect used all the strength of the sect to support him to practice alone. No wonder he can practice so fast. However, the resources of the Kongtong sect should be running out, otherwise he would not come here to hunt the Bodhisattva snake. This also means that his cultivation speed will definitely slow down. So, boss, everyone, let's hunt down the Bodhisattva snake. Now is a good time for us to catch up and surpass each other. No matter how strong Yi Ching is, his efficiency alone can never keep up with the number of us. Don't talk about the boss then, even we will have a chance to surpass him. Hearing this, everyone was so motivated that they didn't even rush to eat the snake meat. They immediately looked for other Bodhisattva snakes and started a new hunt. On the other side, in the deepest part of the jungle, Yi Ching, who was looking for the Sword Demon Valley and killing the Bodhisattva snake, was also sighing. Sure enough, reality is different from fiction. How could there be so many fake things happening? Everyone is busy improving their strength. Time flies by, and in the blink of an eye, another 7 days have passed. In these 7 days, he didn't know how many Bodhisattva snakes he killed. Even the innate true energy in his body nearly doubled, and his pure strength skyrocketed by thousands of kilograms. Sure enough, compared with the several foot-long Bodhisattva snakes on the outside of the 10,000 snake forest, the snake galls of these several foot-long Bodhisattva snakes in the depths of the 10,000 snake forest are more effective. Now Yi Ching's cultivation level has been promoted to the peak and perfect state of the first level of innateness. As long as he takes some time to break the shackles, he can break through to the second level of innateness. However, he has no plans to retreat and break through for the time being, because after 7 days of wandering in the deepest part of the 10,000 snake forest, he finally discovered the location of the Sword Demon Valley. As for why he was sure it was the Sword Demon Valley, it was because when he was hunting a Bodhisattva snake on a cliff, he found a stone tablet about a foot in size with the 2 characters, Sword Tomb, written on it. In addition, there is a line of small words, the sword demon Dugu Chubai is invincible in the world, so he buried his sword here. Alas, the heroes are tied up, their swords are empty, and they are so sad. According to the original plot, the deep valley below the cliff where the sword tomb is located is the Sword Demon Valley where the sword demon Dugu Chubai once lived. However, unlike Yi Ching's imagination of the pleasant Sword Demon Valley, the reality of the Sword Demon Valley has turned into a real snake cave, filled with Bodhisattva snakes. And there are many Bodhisattva snakes with a body size of more than 1 foot. He even relied on swallowing a large amount of snake gall, and his eyes were strengthened a lot. In the deepest part of the Sword Demon Valley, there was a giant Bodhisattva snake king that was 19 feet long and nearly 20 feet long. The power it exuded was so strong that Yi Ching instinctively felt the danger of death. You must know that with his current innate cultivation and strength both internally and externally, even a strong man at the peak of the 6th level of innate Zhenggong realm would not be able to give him such a feeling. This is enough to show that the power of this Bodhisattva Snake King is definitely the existence of the late-stage innate true liquid realm. It may not even be the 7th level innate true liquid realm, but the 90% innate true liquid realm. After all, the Bodhisattva snake is not a powerful alien species. Although it is powerful, its combat effectiveness is limited. Compared with the innate strong ones, even the 7th level innate Bodhisattva snake may not be able to defeat the peak of the true power realm of the 6th level innate one. If it weren't for its power, it would have been impossible to bring Yi Ching a death crisis. In addition to this 20-foot long Bodhisattva snake, there are also a large number of more than 10-foot Bodhisattva snakes in the Sword Demon Valley. The number is not small, but the largest one is only 15 feet, and there are only 4 in number. I don't know why. According to how he hunted the Bosi curved snake these days, the Bosi curved snake, which is about 1 foot in size, is as powerful as an acquired 4th level warrior. The 2-foot-sized Bodhisattva snake is as powerful as the 5th level of the acquired world. The 6-foot-sized Bodhisattva snake is as powerful as the 9th level of the acquired world. Bodhisattva snakes with sizes of 7 feet, 8 feet, and 9 feet still have strength within the acquired 9th level. Only when they grow to 10 feet in size can their strength reach the standard of the innate 1st level. Yi Ching analyzed the reason. When the Bodhisattva snake was 7 feet, 8 feet, or 9 feet in size, it should be accumulating foundation and strength for its own transformation. Because they do not understand the method of cultivation and cannot actively absorb the vitality of heaven and earth, they can only rely on this primitive method to complete their transformation. Human beings acquired 9th level warriors understand the method of cultivation. After breaking the shackles through cultivation, there will be a vision of the vitality of heaven and earth filling the body, which will bring huge energy to the warrior in a very short period of time. This eliminates the need for the process of slowly accumulating foundation, directly completes the transformation, reaches the sky in one step, and enters the innate realm. After the bodhisattva snake grows to the size of 10 feet and breaks through the innate level, its physical body can instinctively absorb the vitality of heaven and earth. This makes the concentration of their flesh and blood essence much higher than before 10 feet. If its size increases by 1 foot, its strength will exceed 1 level. For example, the size of the bodhisattva snake, when it grows to a size of 11 feet, its power is comparable to the 2nd level innate. When the bodhisattva snake grows to a size of 12 feet, its power is comparable to the 3rd level of innate. When the size of the bodhisattva snake grows to a size of 18 feet, its power is comparable to the 9th level of the innate. Although Yi Ching has only hunted boci curved snakes of 12 feet in size so far in the outer areas of Sword Demon Valley, he does not dare to confirm the specific power of boci curved snakes over 13 feet. But he estimated that this conclusion should be close to 10. The 19-foot-long bodhisattva snake in the deepest part of the Sword Demon Valley is probably at the peak level of the 9th level of Shantian. It is estimated that when he grows to 20 feet, he will be able to break through the shackles and break through to the martial arts golden elixir level in one fell swoop. However, the growth rate of beasts is much slower than that of humans. It will take at least 100 years to grow to the point where it is now, and it may take more than 200 years. When Yi Ching's cultivation reaches the 9th level of innateness, the opponent's body shape may not have changed much yet. When the time comes, Yi Ching can just kill him directly. Not only will he gain huge benefits, he will also not have to worry about the opponent breaking through to the martial arts golden elixir level and threatening the lives of humans in this world. Now, it is better to stay away from the Bodhisattva Snake King to avoid putting yourself in crisis. Fortunately, after Yi Ching's observation, he discovered that there was a cave not far below the cliff. If there is no accident, it should be the cave where Dugu Chubei and Yang Guo lived. It is also the burial place of Dugu Chubei. It may also be said to be the place of the tomb. What is inside is not the bones of Dugu Chubei, but the secret book of Dugu Chubei's 9 swords. According to the plot of Swordsman in his previous life, Feng Qingyang accidentally came here when he was young and discovered the cave. He saw the words Dugu Chubei left on the wall and admired him very much, so he prepared to bury Dugu Chubei's bones properly and prevent them from being buried under a pile of rocks. After cleaning up the pile of rubble, I discovered that there were no bones inside, only the secret book of Dugu 9 swords. Thinking of this, Yi Ching no longer hesitated, and immediately used Qinggang to fall down on the cliff, and finally landed safely. Then, he ran towards the cave as fast as he could. As he expected, this was the cave where Dugu Chubei lived. There were also stone tables, chairs, beds and other stone products inside. Yi Ching carefully looked inside the cave. In addition to stone tables, stone chairs, stone beds, etc., there were also several lines of large characters carved on a relatively smooth bluestone wall. Although it looks a bit blurry, it can still be barely discerned. He has traveled across the rivers and lakes for more than 30 years, killing all the enemies and defeating all the heroes. There is no one in the world who can resist him. He has nothing to do but live in seclusion in a deep valley, with eagles as his friends. Alas, if you can't find a rival in your life, you will be lonely and embarrassed. It's a pity that it has been a long time since Dugu Chubei carved the words, and the sword intention contained in it has long since dissipated into the invisible. Otherwise, Yi Ching can still feel the grace of Dugu Chubei from the sword intention. Skipping the stone wall, Yi Ching soon discovered a pile of tombs made of random stones in a corner of the cave. Because he was worried that making a loud noise would alert the Bodhisattva Snake King deep in the Sword Demon Valley, he did not use martial arts to directly destroy the stones, but honestly moved them away with his hands. A moment later, when all the rubble piles were removed, Yi Qing's eyes showed a hint of joy, because he found a boxy thing wrapped in oilcloth. When he opened it, he found a martial arts secret book, which was exactly the goal of his trip, Dugu 9 Swords. Without any hesitation, he immediately opened the secret realm and began to check. Returning to my sister is like woo-woo, woo-woo is like a person, and like a person is like a great person. Most of the other warriors would not be able to understand this formula, but Yi Qing is different, he can understand it. The Kongtong sect is located in Kongtong Mountain, one of the ancestral families of Taoism. The founder Mu Lingxi is also a strong Taoist. The sect has collected many Taoist scriptures, including the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. Yi Qing stayed in the Kongtong sect for more than 8 years. After practicing martial arts to the limit every day, he read and studied Taoist classics to cultivate his sentiments and cultivate his soul. He has long been familiar with the 64 hexagrams of the Book of Changes. A quarter of an hour later, when he read the entire secret book, his innate magical powers and his heaven-defying understanding were activated. You have read through the Dugu 9 Swords, you have fully understood the Dugu 9 Swords, and you have realized the 9 styles of the Dugu 9 Swords. If you feel that the 9-style sword intention of Dugu 9 Swords has far-reaching intentions and extraordinary potential, then study and evolve it carefully. You have successfully evolved, taken the essence of the 9 styles of swordsmanship, created a growth-promoting swordsmanship, and defeated all methods with one sword. In an instant, a huge memory poured into Yi Qing's mind. After he digested it, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. If it weren't for the intimidation of the Sword Demon Valley and the Bodhisattva Snake King, he would have been unable to hold back his voice. Laughed. Because the gain from reading Dugu 9 Swords this time was really great. After the Heaven-Defying Comprehension was automatically stimulated, he actually gained a kind of swordsmanship magical power, and it was also a growth-producing swordsmanship magical power. According to the memory in his mind, as long as he perfects the practice of Dugu 9 Swords and develops the 9 styles of sword intention, he will be able to condense a magical seed of swordsmanship. Then by constantly comprehending and absorbing the mysteries of various martial arts and magical powers, this seed of sword magic can continue to grow. At that time, no matter what attack method the enemy uses, Yi Qing can attack the enemy's flaws or weak points as long as he uses his sword to break through all the magic powers, thus defeating the strong with the weak. Perhaps this magical power is not very powerful now, but it will definitely shine in the hands of Yi Qing in the future. After calming down a little, Yi Qing bowed to the stone tablet with the inscription Dugu Chubei, as a thank you for leaving the secret book of Dugu 9 Swords. Then, he quietly left the cave, used Qinggong, and headed towards the top of the cliff dozens of feet high. Compared with going down the cliff before, it is obviously much more difficult to go up the cliff now, because it is difficult to borrow strength on the cliff in the middle. If it were other innately strong people, I don't know how much time and energy it would take to climb up. But Yi Qing has cultivated his innate physical body, and he can insert his hands into the cliff with force, allowing him to breathe easily and gain strength. Therefore, without spending too much effort, he climbed up the cliff and returned to the previous sword tomb, preparing to retreat and break through in cultivation. I saw him sitting cross-legged on the body of the bodhisattva snake that he had killed earlier, running the eternal evergreen kung fu and starting to attack the bottleneck. Once, twice, 3 times. Perhaps it was the true energy cultivated through the eternal green technique, which was very pure and powerful. It only took him less than half a quarter of an hour to successfully break through the bottleneck and bring his cultivation level to the 2nd level of Shantian. After feeling the amount of qi in his body that had doubled, Yi Qing felt that with his current cultivation and strength, he should be comparable to a powerful person at the peak of the 5th level of innateness. He might try to hunt down the 6th level innate bodhisattva snake. However, the number of bodhisattva snakes at this level is too small, only 4, and they are all not far from the bodhisattva snake king. Yi Qing thought for a while and decided not to die. Instead, he used the sword tomb around the Sword Demon Valley as a warning line to hunt down those bodhisattva snakes that were born between the 1st and 3rd levels. Not only is there no danger at all, but you can also take this opportunity to practice with them and practice the Dugu 9 Swords. Time flies by, and 1 month later comes in the blink of an eye. During this month, Yi Qing has hunted down all the bodhisattva snakes that were around 10 to 12 feet in size. He killed almost hundreds of them. Their snake bodies were also eaten by Yi Qing. Got it clean. Anyway, he has already cultivated his innate physical body, and the venom of the bodhisattva snake is not taken seriously by him at all. He can easily discharge it, or even directly refine it. And he also relied on the snake gallbladder and snake meat of hundreds of innate level bodhisattva snakes to increase the innate true energy in his body by 30%, and his strength also increased by several thousand kilograms. Originally, when the physical body broke through the innate world, it could explode with tens of thousands of kilograms of force just by relying on the physical strength. Now, after devouring a large amount of snake gall and snake meat from the bodhisattva snake, the strength of the physical body has reached 20,000 kilograms, which is comparable to the innate second level. It is indeed a big improvement. In addition, there is the Dugu Nine Swords, which has also crossed the threshold and reached the realm of Shaocheng. Its power is very extraordinary. Yi Qing felt that with his current power, after using the Dugu Nine Swords at Shaocheng level, the combat power he unleashed might have broken through the shackles and rivaled those of a 6th level innate powerhouse. The reason is that the Dugu Nine swordsmanship is a peerless swordsmanship at the golden elixir level of martial arts. Even if Yi Qing has only practiced it to a small degree, its power is still very powerful. Yi Qing was extremely shocked when he learned that Dugu Nine Swords was a peerless swordsmanship at the golden elixir level of martial arts. Because this means that the original sword demon Dugu Chofei should also be a strong man at the golden elixir level of martial arts. According to the martial arts golden elixir level exercises and the yin-yang and 5-element body refining methods that he evolved through understanding, it can be known that a strong martial arts golden elixir can generally live for about 4 decades. And Dugu Chofei should be a person born after the Tianlong era. Even if he lives to the current Yishan era, he has probably not reached the limit of his lifespan. But in fact, he had disappeared for decades during the period of the Divine Eagle, and even got a tomb for himself. It makes no sense that a strong martial artist in the golden elixir realm can only live for more than 100 years. Therefore, Yi Qing doesn't know whether Dugu Chubai is dead or not. Fortunately, he is not an archaeologist, so he has to get to the bottom of it. For him, as long as he can practice the Dugu Nine Swords well, practice it to perfection as soon as possible, condense the 9 styles of sword intention, and turn it into the magical seed that can defeat all kinds of magic with one sword. Now, it only took a short month to complete the practice of Dugu Nine Swords. It can be seen that with his talent, it should not take many years to perfect the practice and condense the 9 styles of sword intent. Since all the bodhisattva snakes ranging from 10 feet to 12 feet in size outside the cordon of the sword tomb have been killed and devoured by Yi Qing, he now has no suitable target. The acquired level bodhisattva snakes under 10 feet have little effect on him. I don't know how many of them I have to kill to be able to match the effect of these more than 100 bodhisattva snakes that are between 10 and 12 feet in size. The innate level bodhisattva snakes that are over 10 feet tall are all within the scope of the Sword Demon Valley. Hunting them will easily alarm the Bodhisattva Snake King, which is too dangerous. Therefore, Yi Qing is no longer prepared to stay any longer. This time he travels, there are many places he has not been to, and he cannot spend all his time here. After making a decision in his heart, he turned around and left without hesitation. During this period, he passed by the place where he met Zhu Yu and others before, but saw no one. He only found a pile of bodhisattva snake skeletons. Yi Qing guessed that they had returned to Xiangyang City to rest and relax. After all, even he has been here for a month and a half. Zhu Yu and others who came earlier will only stay longer. I am afraid they have already felt bored and mentally exhausted, so it is normal to leave. However, after Yi Qing returned to Xiangyang City, she had no intention of looking for Zhu Yu and others. Instead, she found an inn to rest for a few days. By the way, I wrote a letter to the Kongtong sect, informing them about the 10,000 snake forest and the bodhisattva snake, and asked the Kongtong elders to bring some disciples to come to the 10,000 snake forest for training. A few days later, when Yi Qing's mental state returned to its peak, he left Xiangyang City on the horse he bought at the market 2 days ago and headed towards the Kunlun Mountains of the western regions. Originally, I planned to go to the ancient tombs of Zhongnan Mountain, not far from Xiangyang City, to read the 9 Yin scriptures. However, there are still descendants of the ancient tombs sect alive and their strength seems to be extraordinary. After thinking about it, I decided not to go to Kunlun Mountains. I have 3 goals when I go to Kunlun Mountain. One is Zhuwu Lianshan Villa, which has the unique yang finger from Duan of Dali, and the unique orchid acupuncture hand from Taohua Island. Orchid's acupoint brushing hand is just that. Although it specializes in targeting the enemy's various acupuncture points, it is actually just an ordinary innate level secret skill. It's just that this type of skill is very rare, making it difficult for ordinary people to guard against it. The Yi-Yang finger is a top innate level secret skill, and may even be a martial arts golden elixir level secret skill. After all, its founder was Duan Seping, the founding emperor of the Duan clan in Dali, who was also a proven martial arts master at the golden elixir level. In addition to the grade of Yi-Yang finger that makes Yi Qing excited, there is also the effect of Yi-Yang finger that also makes him excited. It can be used as a top-notch fingering and acupuncture technique, and it can also be used as a magical healing power. During the era of the Condor shooting, Huangrong's injuries were so severe that Guo Jing was unable to use the healing chapter of the 9 Yin manual to help her heal her injuries. It was Master Yidang who successfully cured Huangrong by relying on his Yi-Yang finger, which had been trained to the 2nd level. It can be seen from this that the healing effect of Yi-Yang finger is great. Yi Qing has practiced the Eternal Green technique. He doesn't need it himself, but that doesn't mean he can't use it for others. Therefore, Zhuwu Lian Villa must make a trip to get a Yang finger. The second target is naturally the 9 Yang Sutra at the bottom of Jingshan Peak, which is not far from Zhuwu Lianshan Villa. As the main martial art of Zhang Wuji, the protagonist of the Yishan era, it must be a top-notch innate internal skill, no worse than the Wood Spirit Evergreen skill. Depending on his heaven-defying understanding, he might be able to comprehend and evolve a martial arts soul-level secret. The third goal is the great shift of the world in the Mingjiao Guangmingding secret path. This is a top-notch innate secret to harmonizing yin and yang, developing potential, and leveraging strength. If you can get it, you can't miss it. Of course, whether it is the 9 Yang manual or the great shift of the universe, they are all very conspicuous targets. Yi Qing has also been mentally prepared to be taken away by other pioneers. Even if you don't get it, you won't be too disappointed. Half a month later, Yi Qing, who had been working hard all the way, finally arrived at the boundary of Zhuwu Lianshan Villa in Kunlun Mountain. After fostering the horse to an inn in a small town at the foot of the mountain and paying a month's fee in advance, Yi Qing used Qinggung alone and ran towards Zhuwu Lianwan Villa. Although the villa is located far away in the mountains and there is snow on the road, it only took Yi Qing a quarter of an hour to arrive near the villa. It's just that it's still early in the morning, so it's not suitable to take action. You have to wait until evening and change into night clothes before it's suitable to take action. After all, he is the leader of the Kongtong sect, so he still has to show off. No matter whether it is robbery or theft, no one can recognize him, otherwise his reputation and that of the Kongtong sect will be completely ruined. Yi Qing didn't want to wait here, so he used Qinggung to walk around the area around Zhuwu Lian Villa, looking for the cliff where the protagonist Zhang Wuji once fell. There is a narrow passage in the middle of the cliff, which can lead directly to the bottom of Jingshan Peak. It can be regarded as a shortcut. With Zhuwu Lianshan Villa as a reference, searching for this passage is much faster than searching for the Jingshan Peak that is unknown where it is. Unfortunately, by nightfall, Yi Qing had searched all over the 5-mile radius of the villa, but still could not find the existence of the cliff. It is estimated that the cliff is 10 miles away. It will definitely take more time to find it. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.